The first thing I want to do once I get my MPC key 61 up is to put in my Ethernet cable. I'm going to pop it in right there. Make sure it's tight. Screen next after you get to Welcome to MPC. And this one says, please connect your MPC to the internet to check for the latest software update. So, let's go. So here we are, right here. And what I want to do next is I'm going to go here to load empty program. So let's load this one here right pretty quickly. Now that's almost done. I want to go to preferences page next. So this is instruments here, and that's what we have our instruments. And what I want to go here first is to preferences. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to grab this sound, hit sound right there. Here's preferences. I want to go to Ethernet. Status connected. Good. I can go to Wi-Fi. And here I can put a Wi-Fi number. So I want to connect actually here. Okay, so now once I got my Wi-Fi number in here, I'm just going to press do it. And now we're going to see if we can connect the internet, which you should be able to do. Okay, we're connected. When it ships 2.11, which is the first version that came out on June 23rd, 2022. So we're going to need to update this thing. So I'm going to go here and press update. I have two options, actually three options. Online update, USB drive update, and switch to update mode. So, update mode. Are you sure you want to restart your MPC in update mode? You must download the firmware update from the AKAI professional website before you can update. Okay, so let's cancel that, right? Update. Online again. Now it sees it. Cool. MPC version 2.11.3 is available. Would you like to download and install it now? Of course. Download now. Okay, do you want to shut down your MPC? I don't care. Shut it down. It shuts down, and now as you can see, it's updating. That's kind of cool. That's how you can update your MPC key. This actually works for the MPC Live 2, the MPC 1, and the MPC X. This is the process you would go through if you've got them new. That's taking a while. Okay, whoa. So it cut off on me here. And now it's back on. Cute. Okay, updating. So see that? It downloaded, and now it's updating. Please do not unplug. It's a pretty long process, huh? We got the pad animation going on here. Welcome to MPC. Let's go to the next window. Please connect to the internet to check for the latest software update. Let's go. I'm going to press this Trap Soul thing up. And we're in. So now, what we want to do is check to make sure we're up to date. Go here to it says sounds. I'll go here to preferences. And now you can see right here, it says 2.11.3. We are now up to date. We have our serial number right here, control surface. And if you want to update again, you can update right there. Next here, what I want to do is I want to activate the plugins. So I want to get the plugins in here and activate them, obviously. So that's what it says here. Ooh, I got to log in. So I press log in here, and it gives me this login thing going on. I'm going to get my phone. Yep. Here it is. I've got to come in here now, get my phone up here. It says here, open the web page, blah, 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 and enter this code to log in. So open the web page right there. Let's go here first of all. Waiting for response from the authorization server. So I'll try to come in and do this. If that'll work. Can't see it. I don't see the thing. Oh, it sees it. Look at that. Little AKAI Pro. Oh. It gives me this thing here. The code and stuff is right there. Now I'm just waiting. Whoop. Gotta put my password in here. Gotta pull up here a little bit more and do a sign-in thing. Sign in. There you go. You have successfully signed in. So I've done that. And now look at this. Okay, we're here. Okay, so I've got the sounds in. I just want to go back to preferences here. I want to go to sounds. Here's where we started from. Here we got our expression pedal. It goes right there. Our foot switch 2 here. We have sustain pedal. You plug it in right there. And here we have our MIDI ports. We have the MIDI in, MIDI out, and MIDI through, where the MIDI signal travels through to the next device. Next we have here is our CV gate. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right here. You want to sample and input instruments or whatever into your MPC Key 61. We have some sophisticated setup here where we have this combo input, which could be for XLR or quarter-inch inputs. So here you'll see we have input 1, input 2. Now, if I'm using a microphone or something, I can also provide phantom powering. I can come to here, push that to on, and I have phantom powering helping to power certain mics that need phantom power. Now here you'll notice here there on the input gains, we have the ability to set separate gain volumes for 1 and 2. Now here, for example, I can come up to here. I can get that gain volume here, different. Now sometimes in sampling from records, there are different sounds on different sides of the stereo field. So it's kind of cool for that too as well. And of course, independent, maybe 2 different singers could be singing into this different microphones or backgrounds in lead singer. Either way, you can sample them directly into the system. Now also here we've got going on here, we have this. We have the ability to go instrument and line. So instrument, I can have a bass guitar coming here or guitar there. We'll say the guys are playing together, right? I can sample them in. But also here you'll notice also I can go to line. Now going to line, I can sample from a turntable or from any recorded device or just any input going in that could be stereo. And that's how I would use that. Now right next to our inputs here, we have outputs 3 and 4. Outputs left and right. This is our main output and these are our outputs. So we can have 4 possible outputs. And of course right here, that's our headphone input. USB outputs here. This is USB and this is USB. This is network, Ethernet. And here's our on and off button. Push it in, we're powered up. Push it in, we're turning it off. Of course, right here we have our power supply, 100 volts to 240 volts here, right? At 50 to 60 hertz, 65 watts of power. So I'll put my cable in there right there like that. Make sure your cable's insecure too. That's always important. Now, once that's good, you're ready to go. In the main sequence, I have nothing here, completely empty. So here, I got a track. My track is set to plugin. I'm gonna make sure this is set to program. And now you'll see here, new program. So when you first start off, you wanna pretty much make a brand new program, select some drum sounds, and then go from there. Okay, so now what I wanna do is I need to load up some sounds, some drum kits, some samples, into the MPC Key 61. And it's pretty simple to do here because you want to build a kit, right? So we're going to go here, takes us to our menu right here. And now what I want to do, I'm going to select this browser right here, right? Selecting browser, and now we're in the browser. You can see here we have places, content, and expansions. So places are where stuff is stored on the hard drive. And then content would be either drums, instruments, samples, files, projects, and mostly demos right here. And if you have something from Splice, your Splice would appear there. Now I'm going to go right here to places, and I come to places right here. You'll see there's a red line on top. I come to here. There's a red line here on the side. So we know we are in internal, and internal lights up. Obviously, we have what's in here. Now, we have expansions, lost and found, MPC, documents, and Splice. What I'm going to explain now is about filtering and looking for different sounds in different folders. Imagine this internal is one big folder, and inside it are other folders. For example, this is expansions. So you'll notice this is a big folder, and I have this selected right here. These are various filters. If I grab this one right here, that filters out projects. This one would filter out sequences. This one with the 4 boxes would filter out programs, drum programs. Here, this is plugins. That filters out plugins. Here, we can filter out and look just for samples. So if I select one of these, we would see that only here. Now in this case, it sees folders. And when it sees folders, it will just tell you there's a folder we're looking at. Now, I can come to here, which is MPC documents, and of course, these are all folders again. And if I select any filter here, I can't see what's in them. I just see the folders that are in the MPC document. Inside this folder are all these folders. Using this browser, you can always scroll up. You'll see there's something on the bottom here. We have Vault, Supersonic, MPC, Key, Performance, Projects. They're all right there. So I come to here. I go to here. I'm in expansions. Now, of course, these are just files. You'll see 3 different pages here. Those are just files. It shows me all the files, but we just see folders. I'm going to come to here. I'll tap that. Now I'll open up to drums. Now, I can come to here. I got some drums here. Just drum sounds. Rather, bass sounds. These are just bass sounds. But it says drums, right? So let's go back to here again. And let's go back to here. And back to expansions. Open expansions. It says drum kit. I go to here, we see bass, but no, really. Check this out. You notice there's a little dot right here, right? And I can go to here. Oop, the problem is I get too close to this Q-Link button, but you'll see I can actually scroll down. See these great sounds here. And I'll go right up here, scroll back up. Let's go down and watch this. I'm just going to use my finger here. I hit a sound, it's going to play. And it's a little hard here to get this little dot to actually tap on it, right? So you can always do this. You got to make sure you do get that dot like I did just there. You can scroll up and down inside the menu. Now this gives you actually just all the sounds that are in this folder right here, which is the MPC key drums. It's pretty simple to have this here set on for playing back samples. I come to here, this is automatic. So if I come to here and turn that off, go close that out, you'll hear nothing now, right? Because this is audition. It automatically lets me audition any sound that I touch or different file. Now, just touching sounds here, right? I go back to here, and I'm back here in expansions. As you can see here, an internal again. I can open it this way too as well. So I can hit there, hit open, or double tap it to open up any folder. And so I can also come down to MPC key demos and templates. Let's go to performances actually. Let's open this up. And these are keys. Let's go to open this up. And now I have a bunch of different projects you can see right here. Let's go to the top, I can scroll down. So it's the same thing playing. A piano, some other sounds, little string, piano, bass, little drum, whatever that is going on there. But it's telling you or giving you a demonstration of what's in that project. And of course, my audition is on. Now to move out of that, pretty simple again. I come back to here, and I'm back where I started from, in internal. Notice that if I go to here, you've noticed that if I come to expansions here, and I select drums, right there, it automatically went to MPC key drum kits. MPC key has its own drum kits. And of course, I was internal, so it's ever in here, this is in here, and all the rest of this stuff is in here. And this is sort of give me a location, a main folder. And from here, I have the different expansions. And of course, I can slide up or down to see what I have when searching. Now, another way to search pretty much is to use this search directory. Let's say I'm looking for 808. 808 something, kick, bass, drum, whatever. I come to there, slide in, let's do it again. I go to 808. I gotta press do it. See that? And now you'll see it. So be aware that you must press do it to put in your search. When you do, we have a vintage 808 kit. And that's right there. If I want to search for 808, now that was actually in the key section here. Suppose I went to here. I have more 808. And I scroll down. I can pick an 808 bass. I may want to come to here. We have more 808. Ooh, we don't hear that one, right? Go to program. Let's look at this. Nothing's here. So some things don't play, and they won't play. This is specifically just a program. You'll notice it's an XPM file. Now, if I tend to go over here, I know I'm in this MPC Keys demo section, I'll see here I have different kind of files I can select because I'm on the pages icon for my filter. And here you'll see there's an XPM file. This is a WAV file. A plugin. It's a plugin file. And you can scroll through here and see what different files you'll see that are in that one folder. If I want to see samples, I can see only the samples that are in that folder. Plugins, I don't see any plugins. No plugins are in that folder. That is plugins presets. Here I have programs, XPM. As you can see, there are no sequences. I'm going to look at content. So content's right here. I want drums. Okay, I make a drum kit. I come right here for drums. There's 808, right? Let's do this now. Let's go back to here in places, right? And I was in this folder right here, and I had no programs. Nothing happened there. No programs or anything, right? I got to come over here, remove 808, do it. It's gone, and now we see what's in there. So make sure you're aware that if you're searching for something and you don't see it, make sure your search directory is empty. So make sure that search directory is empty so it can truly search and see what's inside that folder that would relate to, let's say, sequences. Let's go to demos. Nothing there, right? Here we go to projects, and we have projects in here. So you can see everything that's on any hard drive. I want to go to content. This is content here. We have drums. Ooh, playing drums. Those are drum programs. I'm going to go to here, the filter, so we can see what's in here. There's tons of drums, of course, obviously. Here we go. You can see that we have a pattern MPC file. We have an SEQ. So there are a couple of files for MPC. There's a pattern MPC file, and there's a sequence file, which is an SEQ file. You must be familiar with that also as well. And of course, we can keep scrolling down here. An EPM kit, and that's an XPM file, right? Get familiar with the different files that we have here. Okay, that's good. So we'll go back here, sequence, plugin, program, sequences, and projects. So it's drums, instruments, samples. We got my files here. Now, a lot of time I will save stuff inside of my file. I will save my program. I'll save my samples. I come to here, here's a program. Open, I would save a file in there, right? A program. Cool. And then here we have projects. And this would be your splice. One thing I want to talk about here is about trying to find samples. There are a lot of samples in here. And so an easy way to get around here, we have these folder icons up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So here's 5, 1. Oh, we got samples already in it. So the sample pack is in 1. So it's good to actually set up these folders to have places you want to search for content, meaning samples, or the different file types. So in this case, that's samples. Ooh, this is everything that's normally going to be seen inside of this one, internal. That's set to internal, obviously. This one is set to what's inside internal. And 4 is set to nothing, and 5 is set to nothing as well. Now, if I want to set something up for these, I might come back to here. I may like the F9, which I kind of do. Pretty much bassy in here a little bit. I got some stuff I like in here a little bit, so I may want to use it, right? So I want to make this appear here. So what I want to do is I want to come to here. I'm going to select that. I'm going to press Shift and select number 4. And that's where I'm going to find it. So look what happened. Number 4 is highlighted now. Whoa, it's highlighted. That means something just happened, right? I'll come to 3. Oh, that's highlighted now. I go to 4. Oh, go to 4 right here. Look what happened. We are in F9. I'll go to here. There's 3. There's 2. There's 1. And 5 has nothing in it at all, right? So let's make 5 have something. Let's find something. Let's do this. We'll get the keyboard performance. Let's go with the urban kit, right? So we want this urban kit right here. Let's open that up. Okay, that sounds cool. And now we got projects in here and that kind of thing. So what I want to do here next is I'm going to press Shift and press 5. And now you'll see that 5 is here and 4 is here. Now, a lot of times you'll see I'm working here. If I go near my Q-Link knob, just slightly touch them or just get near them sometimes, my hand's kind of hot or warm, it will appear. So you can change that also inside of settings, which we'll show you later on. But it's always cool to have these little things working. But that's how you can use the file types here to put them in any folder. So you have your favorite folders here of your favorite types of files you want to get and use. You can put them right here in the icons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you go. Expansions now. Now here in expansions, these are expansions that came with the MPC. We got the MPC key drums, the MPC performance projects. Let's scroll up here a little bit more. We have Sonic Boom, which is already in there, and so is Volt. So these two came with it. And this one here, MPC key demos. And we have this, ooh, kind of cool. We have this one here, which is MPC expansion. That's the F9. So these are the expansions actually. And expansions gives you an extra variety. We've already chosen some for this group of different folders I want to use. but this is the picture of the expansions. You may just want to see what's in an expansion. You'll see this here, of course. You go to 3 files filter, and you can see this, or a 3-page filter rather, icon, and you can see what's there. And I could sort of like scroll down and see all the files that are in there. No matter what it is, I'm going to see those files. And I can come to here. There's no programs. There's programs. There's no plugins, rather. There are programs. There are no sequences. And there are no projects inside of my F9 expansion. I come to here. Come to here. So we can hit different expansions now. If I just select projects and I hit expansions, I can find out what projects are in different expansions. Search my expansions for projects, sequences, right? Programs, plugins, samples. Okay, these are mostly projects. So you can look through your expansions, find out what's in them, and search them directly. What I like to do is search these expansions directly. Get in here's expansion here, I'm right here, and this is the MPC key performance projects, and I can search directly what's in here. I can tap on this, I see different projects. So I know this is a project expansion. So what happens here, I don't see any programs, I don't see any sequences, no plugin presets, no samples. These are all just projects. I come to here to MPC drums, and I can see there are no projects, sequences, programs, or there are programs. Here's a one. That's an MPC key drum kits. There are no plugins in there, and there are samples, as we keep hearing them, right? There's the samples. So we have samples, and we have sequences inside of here, but no projects. So I search and see what's inside. I might mark stuff off. If I want to use it for that current session, I will probably just place it into a folder. .808 right there in the directory. I'm looking for 808 sounds. So I'm just going to look for stuff here and just whoa, that's deep. Let's go back to here. I'm going to go to, there we go, MPC key drum kits. So I'll just have 808 in my directory. I'm searching. Ooh, that's dancehall. I'll load that up. Let's load that up. Nope. Yep. That's good. Oh yeah. I load a lot of sounds in. I want to see what I have so far. I come to here, and there you go. This is the sample pool. Now you'll see here at the top, it says pool. There's no water in here, just a whole bunch of samples. And you can see, as I hit them, they go right there actually. Let's clear that pad out actually. Boom, cleared. So I'm going to come to here. I want to put that snare drum there. To do this, very simple, I'll just double tap it. It appears. Once I get my program, it's kind of cool. Got the program lined up, and now what I want to do is pretty much check it out, right? So I can go back, I'm going to press main screen here, and we see here we're in program 1. Right, pretty simple stuff there. Here we are, and this is our main section. Of course, hit that main button, you're there. If I go to menu, I'm in the menu here. If I go to main, I'm back in main. I go to menu, this is main. Now, this is an important page here, because you can do everything in here. Here, as you can see here, this is our MIDI monitor. See the global information that's going on right here in our MIDI monitor. That's our in, this is our out. We can clear, of course, and we can close it out at the same time. Now next we have bars, beat, and tick. So there are 4 bars. You see it right here. There are 4 bars to this particular sequence. Sequence 1. Right? Nothing's here yet. So let's play sequence 1. What do we have? Nothing at all. You press play. Nothing's there, but this is moving. You see what happens here? That moves across to the top. It's 4, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. So let's start that. What's our tempo? We're at 120 BPM. Right? That's kind of cool. Nothing's there, but how can I tell? Okay, there's a metronome right there. I'll put it to on. That's cool. I'll close this out. Oh no, here's the top. Hit play start. I'm from the top. I stop it here. I just hit play. It plays somewhere it's at. I'll press stop. Pretty cool. All 3 buttons in a row. Quick lesson. Now here I can automate. I can write it, automation write, or if I tap it again, oops, it's automation read. That's right. That's read. Pretty cool. Now right here, that little icon there tells us our system resources. This is our CPU. How much of the CPU are we using? How much of this brain are we using? Are we packing it in, right? And how much memory are we using? It's 25% right there. And this is how much is filled in the hard drive. Well, the hard drive isn't filled yet. We can add more stuff. Or I can purge. Let's say, for example, I've got my sequence. I have too many samples left inside my sample pool. I want to get rid of them. I can go to purge. Ooh. Do you want to purge the unused samples? Example, the samples not used in any program. Or delete all your samples. Whoa. I can delete all the samples or purge the unused ones. I'll get rid of the unused samples. Boom. They're gone. I purge them from the system. I'll press OK. And we're good. Now we'll only see the samples that are actually in this drum program. I may want to come back to this and add some stuff to this thing. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to save this. So to do that, I'm going to go to Menu. Come on, Menu. Right there's my menu. And then I'm going to go to Save. And right here's Project. Untitled. I want to label this project. I'm going to call this my test project. My test project. I'll press Do It. There it is. Do It only allowed me to save what I named it. I want to save it. I'm going to put this in a program. No, I'm going to put this in a project folder. This is projects right there. I'm going to open this folder up. There you go. This is MPC documents. This one here. I'm in the projects folder. I'm going to save test project in that folder. I'm going to press save. Now the project is in there. Now what I want to do next is go back to where I started from, go to main. And now we see here now we have a test project which has been saved. I also saved the kit. I'm a believer in saving. Save everything. Save your projects. Save your kits. Here I have a sequence. It's a sequence which is 0, 1. Okay. I have no idea what to call it. I'm not going to name it right now. But this is our sequence. You notice it has a red border around it? That's our sequence 1. If I go to right here, track 1, there's a red border around that. I can go to another track. You can have 128 tracks. That's kind of cool. Let's go back again to our first track. Now our first track is going to be the first track, which is one which is a drum program right there. Now, in the sequences, how many sequences can I have? I'll keep spinning this around. I know you've read it before. Maybe you haven't read it before, but guess what? It's 128 too. That's a lot of sequences, a lot of tracks. Plenty of room to create. It's important if you're going to create something to have some room to get ideas rolling. Now, this is the BPM right here, right? I can double tap that, and now I'm here in the BPM world, where I can go up or down. It's plus or minus here, or under my control knob. I can go to 19, or 124, by going one by one, or is my control knob, and just keep spinning, right? And I can get to 120. I'll keep it right there. I also have a keypad right here, plus or minus there. I can get rid of zeros, get rid of the whole thing, get rid of it all together, and go 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, and I'm good. I'll press do it, boom, and it's done. It's right here in green again. Double tap that again, we're still in green. It's a go. Perfectly understand. So, I'll go back here, rather than press do it, I'll just press the arrow next to BPM, and we're back here on the BPM. For BPM, this is a sequence BPM. I can also go global, where if I go here, I tap that, now that's global. That means every sequence I make up will be the same tempo. So let's go here, matter of fact. Sequence right here, that's going to be 120. I have to go in, I have to go in and change that. I make it 122, 2, 2, right? Do it. Now that's the global. Now watch this. I'm going to go back here to sequence number 1. It changed this one. It was 120 before. So once it goes global, once you select global, every sequence will be that same BPM. So be careful of that. I prefer to go sequence. That way it's 120 or whatever I want to select it for. And my next sequence, if I want it to be that way, I would go global. I'd make every sequence all the same tempo and save the project. Right here with bars. Now you see that? That's pretty cool. Go back to bars. Little red border, that means we're actually going to do something here in bars. These are bars. There are 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1 bar, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4 is 2 bars, right? So I come and press this play, you'll see it goes by here. Bar 2. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1 again. Pretty simple, but you may want to change that. You may, hey look, I want to do just 2 bars to start off with. I'll do the fixing. I got you. Easy. We're going to go here to main menu again. We go to preferences. Already set up for you here. I have the project defaults. Here, default sequence bars. Come to here, tap on that. I can make the default sequence bars too. Okay, do it. I did that. So now I'll go back here to preferences, back to my main, and here we go. We're still 4 here, right? But my new sequence, whoa, all 4 too. See that? Because it's not set for default yet. But when you set your default for that, and you make a brand new sequence, it will just be 2 bars, will be a default. That's how it works. But I don't want to do that, not me. I go back to here, I go back to preferences, I go back here to default. I'm good. That in like that, it's punching like that. That's good. That's like that. I'm punching it in now. I'm just going to put numbers in here. Back to main. And here we are. And we're just going to do 4 bars. Of course, I'm going to start in bar 1. So here I want to start in bar 1 and end in 4 and loop it. That's how it goes back and forth and goes around in one big loop. Now I want to talk about the loop feature here. This loop feature here is like set to loop, right? This is loop and this is not loop. And this is loop. As you can see, the little icon here shows you that we're looping. Now next, of course, here you see this is 1 to 4 bars. I made a sequence of 1 to 4 bars. We'll play it from the top. Okay, very simple idea. If I come to here and say don't loop them at the end here, I press the play start. It just ends, right? So you get the idea. We can transpose some stuff here. So I got transpose off here. Let's play it from the top here. Now I'm playing a drum part here. I'll put transpose on. Well, it's actually just turn the knob, it's on. See that? If I go to the middle, it's off. This is on. So I want to go back to loop again. I'm going to change it to, let's go up 4 semitones. Guess what? Transpose does not work for drums. Watch this, I'm transposing right here everywhere, right? Stop that. Now I've got these pumper pads on, all right? Okay, good. Now I'm going to play the sequence back. My transpose is off. Okay, now I'm gonna change the transposition to, let's go up a fifth. We go down one more down, the original. So we can transpose the music. Stop. I want to talk about something else here, which is really important. Open this, see the little eye right there? Open this up right there, and now you'll see more what's going on here. This is basically how this system's routing this track. So this track is routing through hyperpads. It's the sound, and this is our sub 1. So there are 4 subs. So this is like a mixing console, think of it as. So a mixing console with 4 sub mixes, and we have a master. So you come to here and press this king there. This king means the master output 1 and 2. Left and right output going directly through the headphones to you and you're the listener. To you and any listener, you're going to receive that information. Now here we have the inserts that are on there. We have this air filter, touch effects, and we have the XY effect, right? And so we come to here, this is like our track information right here. We come to here, this is the program information, as you can tell by the icons up here. I come to here, that's for pads. But when you have a plugin like it is here for this particular sound, pad channel not available for plugin programs. Let's hide this. We'll go over more of this when we try to mix and how output sounds, but I wanted you to see that to get more familiar with our main page. Leaving these pumper here, let's play this again. Right, we're gonna leave this track. And now we want to go to drums. I'm gonna go right here to drum track. Now what I want to do next is, I want to show you more about this expansion of this window. I come to here, I can expand or collapse this window down, and so now we have the drums. And so now you can see here, pad is selected, and now we can use the pad. So I can come to here, bass drum. This is great because what I can do here, I hit that, that's pad 1. I know it's pad 1. It's in the program, right, that I created, or program I have here already. So now I got a program, I can change the level. So I come to here, I may want to click on that, turn my data wheel, I can change the level of that particular sound I chose. I come to here, change that, turn it up more, I want that up more. I want to go, that's good, good. Like that. A little louder. I can change the levels of any drum sounds. I can mute a drum, right? I can unmute that drum. The beauty of having this expansion allows me to get into the pad mix much easier when I have a drum program. I can take stuff in and out, which is really great. Of course, here I have the actual entire output of just those drums. And that's known as sub 1 right there, right? And I can come to here, I got sub 1 up to 8 subs. 8 subs there, which is really great. I have effects on all that as well. So the beauty of this on our MPC is to be able to expand out further while we're just in our main mode. I can close this out here, if I think it's okay, and continue working with creating music here on the main mode. Now here on the right edge of our screen here, you'll see we have, of course, this is a letter, so we can actually change any, like the name of this right here. Anything that requires or needs a name change, for example, the sequence. This is for the sequence. I can change the name here for the track. I can change the name here for the program. So let's go to the top one here. This is A here. I can change the name there. And below here, you'll notice here I can edit. I can erase. I can clear. I can transpose. I can also bounce to a sample. I can delete. I can insert. I can go half length. I can double the length. Pretty simple stuff here. I can copy a sequence, copy just bars in that sequence. I can copy events and paste them anywhere. And I can also save the current sequence. Let's go back. I have one sequence here. This is just one sequence. It's currently 4 bars. That's all it is. I would cut, chop, and edit. Let's say you had a sequence you want to just work from. I want to copy the sequence. I'll come back here, I'll press the pencil tool. I'll come back to copy the sequence. It shows me how I'm going to copy it. I have the copy contents of 1, which is sequence 1, track 2020, and over contents of sequence 2, unused. I can name a sequence again too, but forget that. I want to do it. And so I'll go back to here. I have now number 2, track 2020. Let's play this. You heard that? That's it right there. That's that sequence. I go back to sequence number 1. That's it. So now I want to sort of work with sequence number 2 and use edit. Okay, I've copied that sequence. I can play around with this sequence without messing with sequence number 1. We're going to go here and press the pencil tool. Okay, I can erase. Let's erase something. Notice here when you erase, I can erase a sequence track. Is right here. Erase the sequence, all. Automation, note, what I'm going to erase here. I can erase something except a certain notes. So, this is bar 1 to bar 5. Nothing's on bar 5, so that means 1 to the end of 4. So 4 bars. The time, icons here, from left to right. This is all. I can come to here though. I can erase a track. So in this erase menu, I have the ability to erase the entire track. I can erase the entire sequence or just all automation. I mean, if automation in the sequence, I can erase that. Let's go ahead and erase the entire track number 7. I'll press do it. It's erased. Let's go back here to the top. Let's play it. Uh-oh. It's all gone. Get rid of the metronome. So now I want to get that back. I'll press undo. Okay. Now see, I pressed undo. It went back to the edit menu. I'll press play start. There you go. It's that easy. Seeing that, we know we can. After seeing that, we know we can erase the drums, right? Or any track. I can come to a track. I'll pick a track to erase. I can erase it. It'll make a difference to me. I erase it, it's gone. Here we are, track 8. Let's forget track 8. Here we are going to go back here to sequence. Now here in sequence, I can erase the sequence. I can erase the entire sequence. I can erase notes. Let's go to automation or another note here. So I can erase, I can pick a note I want to erase. I'm going to erase that bass drum. Erase those parts in the sequence. So I'm picking notes. These pads represent notes. Those pads play and they trigger the sounds for those notes. This is MIDI we're dealing with, right? So we have the samples here, but MIDI actually triggers those sounds and our sequencer does that here. So I can pick sounds to erase. I'll say do it. Then I'll come back and play the sequence. I'll press undo. So even while I'm playing, I can get rid of stuff, put stuff in, undo this, write some stuff in. It's kind of cool. And I haven't gone back here right? I just pressed undo. So I'll go back here to my pencil tool. And so this is what we can do here inside of erase. Now if I had automation, let's say, I will go to automation. I want to get rid of automation. Matter of fact, let's have some fun. Let's go to here. I'm going to go to here, open up this little eye right there. We're going to go to the pad. I got a bass drum here, right? That's the bass drum right there. Let's press play. I got the bass drum. Just testing. Now I'm going to come here, write some automation in. Look at that. Now it's going down. That's automation. I'll press stop. Now I don't like that automation. I guess you know that by now. I'll press here. Now I'm going to go over to erase. You know something? I hate the automation. I'll press do it. Erase it. Do it. Okay, now I'm going to go back to here. Then I see my button here, my bass drum, right? Okay, I'm gonna play it. Oh, the automation is gone. It's pretty simple, right? Back to the pencil tool. I come here to where it says erase. I can erase, and I didn't know it already, except I can say erase everything except this one note. This is obvious. You can do that at home, but that's how we use erase. Our next option is to clear. This is pretty simple now. I'm going to press clear. It's just one idea. Are you sure you want to clear this sequence? I'll say, of course I do. Clear it. Now we go back to the sequence. It's like blank. Nothing's there at all. It's gone, so I can erase something. But you know something? If I press undo and I go back here, guess what? It's there. I can undo and redo anything. Except for samples. Now when you are actually going to automate something, don't leave it in the red when you're through. Come to here, make sure you know that that's in read, not write. I'll press the button in, now it says Global Automation Read. Next thing I want to talk about is the transpose function here. That's transpose right there. I have this sequence, so I can transpose the sequence. I can say from bar 1 to bar 5. I can say transpose from C to G, a fifth up. Or I can come to here and do this, right? Let's say it's a C here. I keep a C here. And I transpose up a fifth, we'll say. I want to transpose that, and my range is right there, of course. We see where we're going here. So I can transpose a sequence, or I can transpose a track. Either way. The lesson is going to be about length. I can half length. So go back to here. We know it's 4 bars. Let's take this and go back to our pencil tool and half length. That was automatic. It's 2 bars now. Stop that, undo that. We're back to 4 bars again. Now, pencil tool again. We're going to go here to double the length. Double the length right there. And obviously, if we go back to our main, it's 8 bars now. There you go. Pretty simple to do. Let's undo that. I'm back at 4 bars. Okay, I got one more option I want to show you right now, and we'll go here, to the pencil tool, we can bounce a track out. It's pretty simple. I want to make a sample of what you just heard. I'll press bounce, in progress, exporting sequence. It says right there, it's done. Now you want to find it? It's pretty simple. I'll press here for the menu. There you go. Then I want to go to my browser. I want to go here, of course, this is my browser, but I want to go to my sample pool. Now, I'm going to scroll to the end of it, the back of this thing here. There it is right there. Do you see it? It's the bounce right here of the Trap 2020. I'll come to here. That's it. If I don't like it, I can come to here, hold my finger down. I don't like that. It says delete sample. Yeah, delete that sample. Don't want that. It's gone. Last time you heard it as a sample. Now here in the bottom, we already did copy a sequence. I can copy bars too as well though. So I can come to here, selecting bars. I can pick the bars I want to copy. So it's bar 1 and 2. And I'm in this one here, I can say after 4, 1 copy. I'll say you can either merge together what's ever there or replace what's ever there. I'll say replace what's ever there. And I'll come back to here. And now I have 8 bars again. So I took the first 4 bars and copied them at the end of the 4 bars. Now I have 8 bars. So I play it back. Okay, next I'll go back to my pencil tool right here on top. And then we can copy events. So here in copying events, pretty simple. We have the from. We can select the from the sequence or from the track, right? This would be this sequence, but we're going to copy this event here, or select a different event. Copy all events, or selected events. You see we're going from bar 1 to the end of bar 4. And this is the from section. This is all pads here. Here's a lower section here. Sequence 2. We're going to copy it somewhere in sequence 2. All that information will be copied to somewhere. So I can come to here. I can say, well, start from 5, which will be the end of that sequence, starting a brand new section of copying all the events, or just certain events. You can see I have beat here, tick of course, and how many copies I want to make of that. The options available are of course to replace and to merge. It's pretty simple stuff. Pick the events you want to copy and you can do it. Now suppose you wanted to copy some events or just pads, right? Let's say a hi-hat. So I may come in here and look for a hi-hat. That one there. Get rid of that one. See, I'll pick the snare drum. Maybe the bass drum too. Boom. And these are the pads right here. I can say, okay, those pads, and those would be my selected events. I want to copy just these events in this part, right? I'd say, okay, how about that one too? And then that one too alike. I would say, okay, replace it. But not replace it, but we're going to go back here. And in this case, I'm adding to the end of it. I would press replace. I'd go back to the top of main. I'll see I'm 8 bars now. So I'll press play. Play start, that is. Turn this down a little bit. You saw that? So some parts were eliminated. You saw they were eliminated totally. And that's how that works. Now our next option is to save the current sequence. I'll come to here to sequence. I want to save it. Of course, we're back in this page here. That current sequence is Trap 2020. So what I want to do next is I want to save the sequence. I come back to here. I'm going to go do MPC documents. I got sequences right here, right there. I want to, boom, open it up. And now I can save to MPC document sequences. I'll say, I want to save this Trap 2020. And now it's saved there. Always check to make sure what you did was done properly when you're going to save something. Countless times I've heard of people actually losing their stuff. MPC documents. I'm going to go to sequences. Open it up. Whoa, it's not there. Because sequences are right there. And so it is there, right there for sequences. Pretty simple stuff. Remember what to do. It's that easy. We want to go to track now. Of course, I can come here and name the track. Here's pencil. Now here in pencil, you'll see we can clear the track, which has been done before. We can explode the track. So for example, if I have a bunch of drums on one track, it will take and explode each drum to separate tracks. So from being one track, it explodes out to maybe 8 tracks. Depends on how many sounds are actually in that one track. Now I have a drum track selected here, and I will just explode that out. We also have double speed events. I can half speed events. Let's check this out. Sometimes I might want to get rid of an entire track. I might want to get rid of an entire track. What I'll do is I'll go to here. I'll say clear. Are you sure you want to clear this track? Clear it. When I come back, that track's gone. So it's pretty simple, right? Let's undo that. And now it's back. Okay, we got it right here. We are sitting here and we got nothing playing. I'm going to press play. Hear nothing. This is in solo. Now it's in solo. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is track 7. We're in solo, so we're going to hear this one sound. Nothing. Up to 21, 22, nothing at all. Look at that, empty. So I'm going to do this right here. You'll notice too that some of these tracks have names. Some say unused. When it explodes out a track, what happens is that it takes every sound in that track and makes a brand new track for each individual sound. So I'm going to go to here, and I'm in drums. I want to explode it out. Boom. Now I'm still in solo. You still hear him there, right? Now watch this. I'm in solo too. I'm going to go to mute now. Not a solo, just a mute. Hear that? Let's go back to mute here. We're going to mute that track. Won't mute, right? So watch what happens. I'm going to go to here. After 20. See, the other drums are here. The other drums are here. 22. This is 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. And that's it. So when I explode a track out, it takes that track and puts the sounds on separate tracks. One track may have 8 different sounds on it, like a drum track. And then I can put it on separate tracks. Maybe I want to EQ each hi-hat or cymbal or sound separately to get a true idea of how that sound sounds as a natural element. And that's how you can explode that one track out, in this case a drum track, into many more tracks. Now other events I can do here are pretty simple. I can split events. I can pitch quantize events. I can humanize, I can generate random events, I can copy a track. Pretty simple. I can take that track and bounce to a sample. Just that one track. I would, let's say I'm here. I'll pick a track right here. Pick the drum track, right? I go to here. Bounce to a sample. It's in progress, it's bouncing. I come back to here. I want to bounce to an audio track. Okay, I'll come here and say, bounce to an audio track. So now I have an audio, look at this, audio track is right here. This is the audio track. That's the audio. I can edit the audio. This is that sample. But it's audio, not just a sample, it's audio. If I press play, that's just that track. And that's an audio track. Now, let's say I want to go back out of this, which is audio track, audio events, audio edit right there. I go to browser here. I want to go to sample pool. I go to the end, and there's my track right there. But watch this. That's the bounce. These are the drums. These are samples. So it appears there as a sample, but of course, one of them is an audio track itself. The other one is a sample that ends up going to the sample pool. Now you'll see what happened here. Once I went to audio, it made this audio section here, right? That's audio track. It appears as an audio track right there. I'm in audio. Go back here, I'm back to MIDI. Notice how it changed here. When I made the audio track, it made this show now. This is an audio track. I come to here. Now it just shows me a MIDI track. This just shows me the grid now. Now the beauty of doing audio is that it can go over the entire song, a length we'll say. For example, I could have a singer come in, sing on a track. Her track will be audio. Because it's not MIDI. I'm not triggering a MIDI sequence or triggering a MIDI data to say, okay, I want to trigger this one sample of her playing it. She's playing it naturally over. It could be over a couple of bars in a sequence or longer than that. But it's a separate audio track. That's it right there. This is the sound. So I can come back to here, back to my sequence, press main. I can go back to MIDI, and I'm back in MIDI. Now one thing I want to talk about too next would be humanize. I can humanize what you're hearing. So here, the amount value is 30%. And of course, the eagerness is 0. And this is less than a 64th of a note. And what's happening here, we're trying to give this feel of this beat to be more human. Now you must use trial and error when doing this. Humanization helps you get that kind of feel where it's almost natural. Like a human's playing that actual beat. Other options available to us here are export as a pattern and convert to a progression. Now converting to a progression, you would probably need to read about it, but if you're a keyboard player, of course, let's say you've got a pattern or progression you're using, and it could be 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, of course, would be a third chord on a 3, 6 would be on the minor, 2 would be a minor, and then 5 would be the dominant, and back to 1, which would be the major. So you would have that chord progression going on, and you may want to save it, and you could save it, convert to a progression, and then you could actually use it in the system. Let's say, for example, if I come back to here, and I see a chord here, I would save it in pad perform. And that way I can pull it up and use it whenever I want to use it. Now for the plug-in program, or right here for the program, I go to here, let's go back to drums. I'm in the program here. I can edit the samples, I can assign samples, and I can warp samples. Here you'll see here that in the edit mode for the program within the sequence, I can delete, duplicate a track, bounce to a sample again, bounce an audio track. I can flatten the pattern, or flatten the pad rather. I can merge programs, copy pads, edit pad note map, pad color. I can also save current program and save current sample. So now I'm actually in program. So I go back to here, main. I would go to menu, I go to edit program right there, and I'm in edit program. This is the program name right here, right? You can see that there. That's the pad I'm hitting. Hit a pad, this will change as I hit the pad. Notice the volumes change also as well. Some volumes are changing there, as you can see. And you see the level, of course, and we can see that they're all center panned right here, all panned to the center. I can change the tuning too as well if I want to, right? I can get a drum sound. Let's go to here right now, like that. Put this down. Fine tune, right? I can do semitone tune. Back to the original tuning. So I can change the tuning of these samples inside the program. And this is just the first page. And so this is what I call a professional setup for doing a drum program. I like to get my program, but then I want to make it sound better. For me, it means that I want to go to my program edit mode and then sort of make sure the sounds have that flavor I want. So here you'll see I have global, which have my tuning. I got the pad 01. We see the level here. The panning is just 0. I'm not in the mute group. It's mono because there's not anything else but just this one sound. Not like playing a keyboard. So it's going to be mono here. I've got simultaneous play off. I've got mute trigger off, or mute target off. Now if I did simultaneous play, I would come to here, let's say, and so I want to pick something to play simultaneously at the same time. Let's want to play 2 at the same time. Now you hit a clap. I can come to here, I'm playing this with that simultaneous play, but also I can say, well, you know, I want to use that sound too. So I want to get that sound. So I come to here, and I'm going to play that. I'm going to come to here, and I want to get another sound on there. Listen to that. I got this sound and that sound playing the same time with this sound. That is kind of cool. It makes it easier to sort of like build up a sound to have a different flavor to it. But I don't do that because that's okay, but that's a little cheesy for me right now. Unless I had a bunch of samples, then I probably would do that. But in this case, what I want to do in my world is I'd like to go to the samples right here and check the sample waveform out. See if I like it. That's pretty tight. I like how big it is. There's no room in there. Just, okay, it's a fat bass drum. And it sounds like that. And so as you can see here on this page, which is samples, I can see the sample, the start point, the end point. I can fix anything. I can come to here. Well, I want to change the end point. Bring it in like that, right? I keep hitting it. Hear it cutting off? That noise in the back end? We don't want the noise. That's perfect. So I'll leave it the way it was, like that. I can always edit my sample, which is really kind of cool. I can also have a tail off right here, as you can see here too as well. Here's a tail start. Seems I could add more to the end, So when it does die, it dies quietly. So it's a little tail audio piece. And I can set the length of that tail audio. So no noise will appear, it'll just die really cool. Pad slice. You see it here, right? And then we have the strength, which is 100%, which has to deal mainly with the velocity. Now, there's not just one page. You'll notice here under samples, there are 3. So I'll tap this again, and now we see more. I can add a layer in. This is kind of cool. I can add layers here, add another kick drum. Let's say, for example, I want to add a kick drum. I come to here, and I want to open it up, and I can pick a sound. But see, I can't hear anything. So I really don't like that. What I want to do normally is try to go figure what sound I want to get, and then come in and then put it in there. Now I pick the drum I like, and we'll hear it here. Now I've got 2 at the same time. You'll notice here's a kick and here's a kick. 2 different kick drums. So what I want to do here now is I might want to tune that drum. I got 2 drums. I want to make sure I can tune them properly. So what I want to do first of all is bring down the level of this first drum. The level's down. And it's changed somewhat. So next what I want to do, bring this all the way down. That's this drum right here. Now I'll bring the other drum up, the first one, the original drum. So I want to change the tuning. And I can have 2 different drums. Now I'll bring the level down a little bit. So I want to bring some more bass out. That's what I really want to do. Have one more deeper drum. And that's pretty cool. So I can test that by turning this off totally and bring this back in. And even more maybe. You can hear it on there. It's pretty cool. So I get a little more thickness in that drum. And of course, I can pan it too if I wanted to pan a little bit more. Let's say I want to pan that drum this way or the opposite way. I could do that also. I prefer to keep it pretty thick in there though and keep them going down the center. So you see here we have layer, semi, fine tune, we have level, and we have panning on the second page of sample. Our third page here for sample in program edit. Now here you can see we have the layers are here, the first and second layer. I have the offset where I can offset these layers. I can change the attack start and the velocity end. So in the beginning, when you strike that sound, that's the velocity start. So if I come into here and turn this up, it's changing. If I come to here, it's almost playing just in the middle of it. I come to here, you only hear the second sound because I changed the entire start. The start is happening at the end of the sample, not in front of it. So I can change the velocity start. That means when I hit that drum, I'm not hitting on the 1 or the first part of the drum, I'm hitting on the further part. So what happens when the velocity start happens, I'll show you here, velocity start will come to here, here, here. The higher up I get, the further it goes down to here. I only get the little end of the sample right there. When velocity start is set to 0, it starts from here. When velocity end moves up, it's just moving up the end from here of the sample audio. So let's go back to that page, page number 3, and that's how that works. The offset just offsets the sample by a certain amount. Right, 2 samples just falling in different spots. So this one's behind. I can put this one ahead of the other one. Might hear more of this one here, right? So this can be good with vocals at some point, and it could be good with other instruments, but you must know what you're doing when you want to change the offset of any sample. I like to keep them even when I'm right there. Now next we have one more page here, and then this is page number 4. And here we have pitch, volume, we have panning, offset again right here, which is kind of cool, and we have attack, decay, cutoff, and release. And these are effects that are applied. So here, for example, that's good. I can come to here and change the pitch if I want to. It's changing in that first sample. Back down to where it was at. I can change the level too as well. So it makes it louder. Change the panning and the offset too, also if I want to. Change the panning and the offset. Then of course here, all layers, I can apply the attack, decay, cutoff, and release. Okay, and this is the amount right here. Starting from 0 there, as you can see, starting from 0 here, and I would apply that to all layers. Page is envelopes. So I come to here, I have an amp envelope, you can see right here. Here's our pad, right? And this is the level, the volume. It's up 1 dB. The panning for that pad. This includes both of those 2 layers. And I can change the amplitude of this pad. So I can come to here, go with the attack, right? And you can see here, panning of the attack amp amplitude right here. I'm not going to do any panning though, but it's showing us some ideas. Here's decay. As I decay, I can extend it out or bring it in. It can decay on an angle like this. And I hit the pad. Now that's just a drum, so you're really not going to hear that much out of it because it's a short sound. I'll give you an idea of what's happening here with the amp envelope. How you can change and develop a sound using the amp envelope. Now here we have the attack. So that means this will come in the top part. The decay, which will be right here. So it's decay like this. Now listen back to it. The sound has changed totally. So be aware of what you're doing when you are going to use the amp envelope, but use your ear to get the best possible idea of where you're going. Now this is attack decay. Here I have attack, hit, decay, release. Now also here I have, right here it's attack, hold, decay, and release. So I can actually hold the sound longer. I go to hold here, let's hold it longer. So I come to here, and you'll see from the diagram that's extending out how long I can hold that sound there. And that's how page number 1 works in envelope. And the first option is amp. Now here, we'll see that of course we're hearing amp envelope. I'm going to apply a different sound now. That's pad number 11, a flute type sound, right? So I'm in attack decay. So I come attack decay, I may want to take this decay down some. Amp is at 127, and the attack here is at 0, and panning I'm not using it at 0 anyway. So I can come here, let's say to decay, and change that, right? So here's decay. Using my data wheel to turn this. See the change? Let's change the attack. It's changing. Now watch this. See that? Same sound, but it's slowly going up, then comes right down quickly. It follows the form exactly. Now, I want to go back here. Back to 0 there. And here. Back to 0 here. Do it. So it's easy to do that. Of course, I'm using my data wheel. I just push in. It gives me the numbers. And I select what I want to select. And I get back to where I was at from the beginning. Now here also, look like over here we have attack, hold, delay, sustain. So a whole different idea. And this is an amp envelope. I'm going to make sure I'm on full level here. I'm full level now. Good. Makes it easier for me. And now I want to come in here. I want to change the sustain. Good. Now I want to get to the decay. I want to decay for a while here. And I want to change the hold. We're extending the hold out too. So you see what the diagram's doing? It's moving around for me here. Now I'll play it. It's lasting longer. And the hold is helping. That's 100% hold right there. And then here we got decay up, so also more sustain. Oh, there you go, look at that. It's sustaining more accurately now. Just straight on, whatever's there is going to sustain perfectly. Let's change the attack actually. And I'm going to move my attack further out. And now. See that? Just like barely there, right? Because the attack is at the front of the sample. The further I go, we're getting closer where the decay part is in that sample. So I can change how the sample amplifies within the system. I might come to the direct start of the sample, it's stronger than that. That's how we can use the first page in our amp section, or actually in our envelope section, and the option we have here is amp. After amp, we're going to have filter. I can filter out. This is filtering out sounds or filtering some stuff. It's like really cool to filter. And here, our main option here is the low filter 2. So I come to here, I can select different filter options. Here's low 2. I can go high, get bandwidth. It's like really cool. But it takes a while to actually get to know it all that much. So you're going to need to actually practice and understand how it works. But in this case, I'll use the flute again. See how it changes? So obviously, low 2 gives you more lo-fi, more of a lower sound. And so here we have some of the same options where we have attack, decay. And if I want to, I come to here, I have attack, hold, decay, sustain. The same options appear here, and you can practice out and get a good idea with it. Plus we have depth here as well, which I kind of like a lot. Depending on the type of sound you get a pretty good depth sound. You can hear the difference now. More depth to the actual sound. I pull this back, get it back to 0. It's back to normal. And of course you have cutoff, attack, and depth. But this is with the velocity modulator. So you've got to practice and sort of get a good idea how it works. But I love this one because it's kind of cool with voices too and flute sounds. And I like it with little pieces of records. You can really make them sound really cool. Now, a group called Tribe Called Quest is really famous for that. And I can get those kind of parts like that from this kind of program when I use it on small record bits. But try it, it's really great. The next option we have here is envelope pitch. So the pitch is going to change, right? So let's do this. We'll hit that, good. So now we'll see, we've got semi, we got fine tune, yeah, cool. And pitch envelope, it's kind of cool. So that's a little bit here. Cool. Let's go here. I like that, good. So I'll come to here, let's get busy. Let's try the first one first, actually. I'll go to decay, and I'll set up to be 100, do it, and then I'm not coming to do it again. Okay, now I want to change the attack. Go in here and I want to do it. I want to change the fine tuning too as well. So essentially I can change the pitch and bend it. Now the next feature is going to be LFO. Here's LFO here. The LFO allows me to apply a waveform to the sound coming out. That's the flute there, right? So that's the waveform, and that's I can change the rate of this waveform. You see, I go louder, and the sound does more of this, up and down like that. I like that. So now I can sync with something else too if I want to. I'm not going to do. I can pick half tone. Let's try maybe dotted half note. That's good. So this is my destination actually. I want to come to here and change the pitch. I want to go to, let's see this again. Let's go up to here. That's good. About the 16 I want. Not 16, maybe. Yeah, that's good right there. Then I come to here, filter. I'll get my filter up a little bit more. Amplification. My amp right there, good. And then I want to get my panning. A little back and forth thing going on maybe. And now I'll play the sound. Okay, that's kind of wild, right? Now, what I can also do here, I want to change the waveform. So I'm back here, triangle, sample and hold, sawtooth. I'll reverse that sawtooth. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try square. Oops, sorry about that. So square is kind of like really rough on it. How about noise? But you get the idea. I hit the pad. The destination is this pitch, this filter, that amp, and that panning. Now it's really cool on some really funky sounds, and I love this part of the LFO, and I like it on the bass drum too. And I come to here, that goes there. Back in, I come to here, I push this in, and I go back to here. It's better and faster this way. I push my data wheel in, I pull that back here, push it back again one more time. I push it in, I use my finger, I push it again, I'm back there. Faster way to edit the LFO. Love it. Now my next feature here in program edit mode is modulation. So here's the sound, and that sample start I'm not going to mess with. I got the filter here. Let's try a filter. Let me go to filter. I can do this too with a filter. I come to here with filter attack. just a little bit. And I have filter envelope depth. Ooh, I love the depth thing, so as you might already know, I want to get some more depth in there. There you go, about 91. Then we're going to go here to pitch. I'd love to change the pitch a little bit. We're going to experiment today so you can learn something. And we'll go here also with amp attacks. A little strong amplification attack, right? You know what an amplifier is? We're going to attack, and a panning. Let's see if we can do some panning, freaky panning, to get some idea what happens with the panning. Go to here. Cool, that's good. So now we have a destination. We have the velocity sensitivity. So velocity is sensitive. And then we have the LFO destinations. We're going someplace, right? So we want to go someplace else with the pitch. The pitch is right there. We want to go here with the pitch. Well, let's make a little more. Let's push this in. Let's get a little weird. Let's go here to filter. Want the filter more. Go to here. Amp. Want the amp more. Boom. Amp. And I want to get the panning slightly. Now, I did all this stuff here. I'll hit the sample. It's all the same velocity. We were at full velocity, but see how it's changing? As I hit the pad, everything's changing because I touched everything here. But you get the idea. I went really too far, but you can always adjust to what you want to do, pretty much. So I got a destination here. I'll bring my pitch down somewhat. Back to here. That's the penny back and forth. And I can bring everything back down here. And that's using the modulation. So I only use this once in a while. Sometimes with 808 kick drums, I may want the pitch to change at the end. Filtering down here, and sometimes odd sounds in a mix. But it's good to know what to do. Because sometimes I'm mostly an engineer, so I like to know everything. So when I'm sitting around and someone says, can you do this? Sure I can. That's a classic answer. So next thing I want to do here is, I want to go over here. We have a delay here on this sound here already. That's why it goes delaying there, right? So I can add effects to sound. This is really cool, right? So let's hit the bass drum again. I'm back in the bass drum. We're back to the basics. We got a clap there. I got a snare drum. That snare drum sounds a little weak to me. So what I want to do now, I'm going to take the snare drum. I'm going to add a compressor. Let's come to here. Double click there. I want to get a compressor. Let's go to compressor right here. The air compressor. Punch it in. That's good. I go to here, I want to write it in. I want to add a compressor. So go to my presets. I go to drums here, and I want to make that compressor do something. So let me see here. I'll twist it down here. I want to get that compressor to compress that snare, make it hard. Oh, it's much better than before. But so light a drum sound, right? So what I'll probably do here is I may go back to samples again and add a layer. I'll go to here. Now next we have this. Now this is my personal setup, which I did before already. I have projects and templates that come with the MPC Key 61. And then we have demos. Now these demos have the keyboard parts, the bass lines, the drum parts already made up, along with the sounds for it, while the template has just the sounds, and you can make up your own parts, right? So I can scroll along here, and I can actually see, I got to press this little arrow right there, and you can go through these demos, get an idea what you want to see, what you want to do with, and so you'll see that some of them are actually in here too as well. Now down here, we have more. So we've got files here, you'll see here. I can click there. But what I want to do, I want to load this one here. Now that one loads. This is our progress bar. You get an idea of what's loading in. And here's the main project here. Play this project back from the top. Let's me just play the keyboards there. And so here we got BPM. And I'll stop that. But as you can see, it's a pretty long project. It's 52 bars here. And then you can see the BPM is 149. Now also, here is not just the entire system we have. I can also come back to here and see where the eye is and open this up, and now I can see the track. So if I play the sound here, I can control its fader. I can also add here, I can add in plugins like a reverb or an effect or lo-fi, or add in tape speed, half speed with tape. I can add an EQ or a compressor here. I can also solo from here. All right, I come here to solo it, and it solos. But notice here, this solos too at the same time. So this controls it much more easy than going to that smaller space right there. I can mute it too at the same time. Mute this, unsolo, and I'm muting. Turn mute off. And so it can all happen here too as well. So this is the track. You notice here, this is the program icon under the red line here. This program icon indicates we're in this program, and then also that since it belongs to this sequence, this Fabric XL is right here. Its main output is output 1 and 2. It's going directly to the master out. Now, let's close this out. You press hide right here. It says hide, and we'll press that. So you notice here also that we have a name here, and there's a little red box around it, right? And that means I can actually edit this part. If I come to here, when I go to BPM, I can edit that too. I can turn my data wheel, and I could edit the BPM as well. If I come to bars, I can change the bar length. Let's say I want to cut the bars down while we're just doing a project. I just want to pretty much just put a few pieces in, so I don't want to go too big. Let's say I want to do 20 bars. Cut that down to 20 bars, right? I can also come here over transpose and do that as well. Here, I can do the end or the start. I can change either one of them. So it's always good to actually open up a sequence that you see on here and play with it and look at the parameters and add parts to, take parts out. You'll learn more that way from a project you already got from them. And then when you start doing your own project, you'll be well versed on the use of everything in your MPC Key 61. So now I'm keeping this down to 20 bars totally. And I've got my sound here figured out. This is a plugin, as you can see. And that plugin deals with sounds. Now also here, if I want to record, I can record actually. Got a record button here. I'll turn that on. I'm ready to record. We have transpose also. This is for the track. This is just track information here. We got transpose off. The length is the sequence length, which is this length right here. Then we also have the velocity. It's full velocity here. And the MIDI channel is MIDI channel 1. Of course, here's auto, merge, off, on, in rather, and auto. So in auto, the record is on, and I can play while the record button is on. When I start recording, I can still play the part. It will be recorded at that point. Auto now, and record. So I'm going to record here. I can record a part. So I can come in here and record a part in here, and I can get the keys ready and start playing a part in. Here, merge means it's going to merge with another part. I may have something already recorded here, and I'll be merging with that part. And then here we have off. So that means I won't hear anything until I start to record. And here is in. Record directly into the track. And here is auto. I will hear what's on that track if something's on there. But I will pretty much press play and record, and I will erase what's there. Got my part here, and what I want to do too, I want to open this up. I'll press the I right here, and now I've opened the track up. I can see the volume. I want to sort of bring the volume down a little bit here, and just play it back a little from the top. Okay, good. So now what I do, I'll come back in here, bring it down a hair, and maybe I want to hear it solo back here. Let's start from the top again. Stop. Got the idea now. Good. So what I want to do next is come to here again, and then I want to see if I want to add something. I might come here to this effects. I'll tap on effects here. I may go to dynamics, or I'll close dynamics out. I got a filter EQ here, so I can add all these effects directly onto the track, which is kind of really cool. I'll come here to harmonics, keep stuff open here more often. I got lo-fi air, I like that one. Let's select that one. Okay, good. If I want to edit it, I can come to here, select this here. I can see the lo-fi right here. And I might just want to change some parts here. So I got pre and post. So I can come to here using my Q-Link and change that. So I got a Q-Link right here. And I could change it a little bit here. Which is good. Right? But what I want to do is come to here actually and change this. I can do this by hand too as well. I can just grab it like this and do it this way as well. So I come to here, I'm using my data wheel, and I can change how I want to have this sound effect work. That's the post. Let's go to pre. I can do some more noise. Yeah, I like that. Back to post, get it way up there. Good. Bit depth. I'm going to bring this down here, which is great. I have a mix too between the two, so I can get a nice mix of that also. Sustains well. So now I've got a sign like. I'll press this arrow back to here. And then we're going to go right directly back to our sequence. I can actually see right here where my fader's at. Which you can see right here. Obviously, I can even pull up a little bit more to get a little more audio output. I'm in solo mode. I'll take solo out actually here. No more solo. And what I want to do next is record. So I got record ready to go. So now this record is blinking in time to the music as well. So I can come to here, I'll press this. Stop that. And now I want to see if it actually came out right. What I'm going to do first though, I'm going to hit solo. I want to hear it separately. I heard a mistake right there in my first part, so I want to go back inside and fix it. So I can go actually to my grid mode right here. Here's grid, and I can see the grid. So in order for me to like look for this part, I'm gonna need to like go to here where I can zoom in and out. I can do this like this and zoom in and out, zoom like that, move in. And I can see the parts anywhere within the project I'm at. Currently I'm at 20 bars only, so I can see these bars. And I see the part right there, so this is the part right here. Let's see if we can select that part. That's it right there. Now I want to erase it. And that's gone. So it's pretty simple there, right? I went to my zoom feature here. Let's undo that actually. Let's go to here, and I can see that feature right here. This is right here. So I'm here, of course. I went to zoom in. I went to select it right there. You see the white border around it. I go to erase, and I hit it, and it's gone. So sometimes you record a part, you want to fix it, you can go right back in, and you want to go here to your grid mode right here. And so you want to look internally, you go in here like this, and if I want to, I can actually come in here and actually write some notes in. I can come back here to write and say, well, this is the one I wanted. Or that one, right? Now, I can erase it too as well. I go back to erase. I don't want that one. Or this one. Or I can just undo. And they're gone. Like that, I'm just going to record the part straight through for 20 bars. So I'm going to play from the top. But first I'm going to press record here. This is blinking in time to the music, obviously. And then what I want to do is press this button. I have my metronome on, we'll hear that, then I'll start playing. So it came back in. So it came back around as I recorded it. Now, normally what I should have done is actually turned off the loop feature here. Let's hear that back though, from the top. That's good. It's 20 bars right there. So I like that. Look at the grid here. So we have the grid. There's a grid button on the MPC Key 61. But also you can come right here, and that's our grid sign right there. And I want to hear this back a little bit. Okay, so when we get here, we can't see much. It's on the grid. So I'm going to pinch in here a little bit. As I pinch in, we get to see what's happening here. So we can see the notes now that are here on the grid. Let's look at the length of this. I have no idea how long this is. So I'm going to go back to main, and I see it's 52 bars. See that right there. 52 bars. So we're going to go back to grid. And I know the drum pads here all work, but we're not adding to it. See here, of course, we can zoom in, zoom out, and currently I don't even see 52 bars, so I don't think you can actually see 52 bars, the whole 52 bars here, but if I press play from where it's at, just gonna play from where it's at here. And if I zoom in, I should have it set up already. So see what's happening here? It's zooming in, I can't see nothing. So look. What you want to do also, I prefer to do, is go to settings. I'll come to settings here. I want to make sure we're follow scroll right or page. This is set up here, make sure that's right. And then we've got, this is on also as well, which is the zoom here and scroll. That's the link for zoom and scroll. That's on right there. And let's see here, we have absolute snap mode. And here we have hitting pad selects all events. So if I hit a pad or a key, either way, I'll select all events. But notice I'm doing it now, you can't even see that. It's not selecting any events. So let's squeeze in a little bit more. Let's go out a little bit more. Let's make sure our follow mode works. So I'm going to come to here, and I'm going to press play here. There we go. And now we're following along. Of course, I can switch this back up. If I don't go that fast, I can go to page. I'll come here to page, I'll press close, that's good. And then what I want to do here is just press this. And I can see where I'm not going to know that. So the thing is that when it scrolls by, I really can't see these numbers here. But when it's in a page, I can see it's 19, 20, 22. So that's 20, and that's beat 2. Here's 19, and that's beat 4, beat 3. So you can see where you are. So when you want to go back to edit, you can edit. I can say, like, for example, you know something, I want to make this one here. Well, I'm going to come first, select first. That one right there, I'm selecting here. I know I selected it, and now you can see there's a little white border around it. It's been selected, which is kind of cool. So I got that selected too. I could always nudge it. So see I'm nudging it? Use my plus or minus, and I can nudge this anywhere on the grid. I can also come here to edit. I can add to the front. I can go to, that's edit start. Let's do edit end. I can add to the back. And I'm going to front. So I can get it bigger no matter what. Now when I went out of the edit end, this is all based on the time correction value set in timing correction. So I can come to here, I'll press timing correction, and you'll see it right there. It's at the 16th notes, right? Good, so I'm gonna make sure we're down to that. So I can make sure everything's a 16th note here. And I can play it back from here. That's pretty easy. I also come back to here. Let's say I come to here. I want to get rid of something. So I'm in selection. I want to go back to zoom so I can move it around. And I want to get back to another spot here, this spot right here. That note's going to go back to here now. Select. I selected that note again. I can come in here and I could probably erase this note if I want to, right? I hit it, I erase that note. The note is gone. But I can undo that too. Press the undo button. I'll take it out again. It's gone. I can come here though with the pencil tool and pop it back in. The wrong spot though. Okay, that's the wrong spot to be in. So what I want to do is move it to the right spot. So I go back to nudge. And I can nudge it one up or down. I gotta select it first. And I nudge it right back where I'm at. So if I want to hear it, I'm not too sure where I'm at, I can move back just a couple of events. Okay, so now I go back. Wait, let's see this again. We go forward now. So if I'm wrong, I come back to here, and I'm moving backwards by hitting the start next to the locate button. And I see where it's at right there. And I can press play. So I know it's correct now, see? So I can move my start button again. It's right next to the locate button. On the right side of that button is the end button. So I'm moving back in terms of bars. I can also probably go back to zoom and shrink in again. I can see it. That's it right there. So you can test it, you can zoom to it, and you can actually change the note. It's a really cool way to do it. I can even transpose it now. I can say, well, that note's there. I may want to I feel I had like a keyboard line going on here as far as this grid. Right now I'm in the drums. I can transpose that note. So I could move it up using the plus sign. I can move it minus using the other sign, which is the minus button. Up, and I'm moving up and down the grid. But in this term, using it this way, I'm actually going to hit a different note. So I'll go back to here. Let's move it down and play. a different bass drum. Let's go back again. Now, let's say I wanted to move something else. Let's say I want to move this drum. Let's go to, select. Now I'm getting confused. Select that one. And I want to bring that one down too. Now select another one. Let's select something else. Let's get one more here. Let's get, select this one here. Sometimes you can't even select. Trying to select it, it's hard because it's so close to the line. So I just sort of like go back to zoom, stretch it out a little bit more, and go to select it. It's pretty hard doing it like that. So let's go back to here. I'll move my timeline back. That's that little line there. And that time I hit events going to the left. So I want to make it, zoom it up, bigger. Can't even touch it. It's amazing. So sometimes this is pretty hard. So I'll select it now. There it is. Undo that. Undo that. It just keeps going up. So I am in transpose. That's a mistake you might make. I want to go to actually to just select it. So I'm not nudging it. I'll just go to here. I selected it. Now I want to bring it down when I go to transpose. I'll bring it down one. And now I will shrink it back up. So let's pinch it in some. Go back to zoom. I'm going to pinch it in here. And now play it back from here. Let's go back right about here. So I changed these three notes with a different bass drum. So you can do a lot with this MPC Key 61 inside grid mode as far as changing your notes, moving where they are, increasing the front or the end of it. So I can also go to any of the tracks. So I'll select here, and I'm selecting the track right here in grid mode. And then I can just go up, another kit right here, or I can go down to the studio piano. Now to make sure I can hear it, I would go back to main. Of course, here's main. Go back to main one time. I'm in solo here, so studio piano's on, I'm in solo. So as I move around, and I was in solo for the drums, the solo will follow me. So for example, let's go back to grid mode right here, and I go to a different track, this bass, and I go back to main, and see now the bass is solo. So that's what's cool. Once it's in solo here in the main window, and you go to grid, it will also solo there if you're in solo mode. That also applies to mute mode as well. And I noticed I got a bad note somewhere here, so I'm going to go back in here, and here it is right here. So it's always good to go back and check everything out. Here we go. So it starts right there. So I'm going to hit the event button, the left event button. I'm going to go right back over. As a matter of fact, I'll hit the start button. I'll go in terms of bars across. I'm going to come to here, and I'm going to look at this thing here. That's a bad note, right? So that's bad. I'm coming here. I'm going to select this note. So sometimes this string might get too hot. So we'll go back to zoom. I'll zoom it out more. And then go back to select. I'm not going to select the note. So sometimes you have to actually zoom out more to select the actual note. So I come in, I got that note. I'm going to sort of extend it out. So I'm going to come here and get the end of it. Extend the end. So I'll zoom back in. Good. And then I want to get this note again. Select this note, select. Good. And extend the end again. And then now what I want to do is probably zoom back in. Okay, good. I like that. Good. That's the note right there. Select it. Okay, so now I want to hear it. So yeah. So I see that note could probably go there. Let me take this note. And we're going to move the note now. So I'm going to take this note and nudge it. And I will nudge it back. Right here. Now I'll move the start point over again. And hear it back. Okay, good. So that's good. So that's how editing actually happens also with the keyboard or anything. So the grid does the same thing, whether it's a keyboard or drums or whatever. If it's in the grid, we can edit it in that way. And everything snaps to the grid anyway. So if I don't want to snap it, I can always go to here and it'll never snap. And I could drag it to where it'd be just like overlapping. So for example, here, I'm moving slightly in small increments. And you can see here as I actually touch it in small increments, you'll see it's moving very slowly across there, but it's 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So it's overlapping now more than before. And I'm going to go here to zoom level. I'm going to zoom in more, and you'll see how it's overlapping. And I can go back further too. You see that? And now I want to hear it back. So I'm going to go zoom a little bit more. Oops, up to here. Back to here now. I'm going to go use the start point and play. So see it overlap that time. So it's not snapping to the grid. Maybe you can't hear it that loud, so I'm going to turn up the level a little bit more and go back to here. So I've actually overlapped it. So normally if I don't want to snap, I'll come to here. Now I don't want to snap in some ideas, but generally I'll snap based on the grid value. And in this case, timing correction is 16th notes. And we'll close this out. So next, after this grid mode, is this track mode right here. And in track mode, I can see a lot more here. You can see on each track, his strings. I see where the strings are coming from, all ports right there. The range of the keyboard's right there too. It's not in record mode. There's auto setup. If it wasn't record mode, I do have auto setup here as well. And we see here that we have 127. That means hit the pad. It's going to be that loud. You can go to, which is the velocity. We have filter here. We have solo. We have mute. So it's pretty cool. And you can see here that solo is on here for the rev string. I could scroll in here too and look for something else. I can undo that. So I can actually come in here and change some of these fabric elements. So I can scroll up actually, just grab it here for audio file here too as well. Audio could be here if I did have audio in. And of course the drums are right here. You can see we have the plugin and we have drums. So you can see a lot here inside of this section of the track. And next here, this is our step mode. So I can come in here and add notes. And this is our step sequencer. Is right here. Let's see, for example, I come up to here. Let's see. Let's go to drums. I would see that here we are. I can go in terms of bars and see where we are on the sequence here, the length of the sequence, the BPM, and of course the beats, the bars, the beats, and the point where we are in that track. Down here, we have the XY effects. We're going to apply effects to different sounds that I've already recorded inside my MPC Key 61. And this is pretty simple. I would just come in here, if I had a track going on, supply to the outputs. Latch it, apply the effect. So it applies an effect, and here it is. In this case, it's tied to the output 1 and 2. So you have to find the right effect you want to use and apply it. I can set it up here too as well. Here's a setup. In this case, it's set to the preset here. I can try a phase manual. Let's try phaser here. Phaser. Here's the different ones I have. I have flanger. Let's go to flanger right here, and we'll use that one, and then we'll close out the setup. We'll play the track back. We can apply that to the output. So now I want to explain automation, and it's kind of cool. So I'm going to do it with mute. I'm going to select mute right here, and I can mute out different tracks, right? So as you can see, we have the tracks right here. Now in order for me to actually record the automation, I need to make sure I'm set up. So here we have shift. I can press shift and then press automation, and I'll see on the screen it says global automation off. So I want to go here, press shift, press automation again. Automation's on, and of course the light here is highlighted. So the light's really working, obviously. And I want to do next. What I want to do next, I want to go to right. So read is green and right is red. So you'll see that here appear also on our monitor screen here. Right there. So I'm in right. Now in order for me to write, I've got to press record. As I press record, I want to make sure my metronome, of course, is going to come on, but I know that I already set that up, but it will happen automatically. Now if you don't know how to do that, you want to go inside and set your metronome up. Make sure metronome is on right there. Cool. And now I want to get ready to record. So I'll just do this. I'll press play start. Stop. Okay, now I want to read it back, so I'm going to press read here and go to the top again. And you can see it's happening right here on our screen. That simple. Now if you make a mistake, you got a problem, you know what to do. You're going to press this undo button. Boom. Undo is done. And then we can do it all over again. But that's how we can do automation. That also works in pad mode. Let's say I'm doing this here. I like that. And I'll play from the top again. Now we'll stop this. I'll put these all back on now. And I'll play from the top again. Top again. So we know the automation is not happening, right? So what I could do is say, I'm going to go back and press Shift and redo. And now my automation is back. I like that. So I may want to automate my drums, right? So we're going to select the drum track now. So we're going to go here and press Shift and press pad mode, right? I'm going to select actually an actual track for, here we go. Now you see it here. Here's our trap kit drums. It's right here. The drums are right there. So now I could automate the drums. Now, a lot of times I'm working on my MPC Key 61, and you might think, well, I thought the first time that the Q-Link wasn't working, but what you need to do is you need to make sure you press Shift and press Q-Link. And here you can set what mode you want to be in. I could be in project, program, I can go to pad scene, I can use pad parameters. But also coming here to screen allows you to use any mode. So for example, I'll go back to main, and now my Q-Link buttons will work in this screen. Once I touch here, you'll see a list of the options. To change them, I go to the second light here, meaning the second row of Q-Link, and now those parameters have changed. The third and the fourth. Makes it easier for you. Let's suppose you're trying to do sample edit. I come here, I go to sample edit. Well, I want to move the start or the beginning or the end, right? So I come to here, I can move it in small increments. I can move it in hundreds. I can move it in thousands. And I can move it in 1,000 each. So it's 1,000. What is this one here? Oh, it's hundreds, tenths, and then this is single digit. So I can get the perfect start point of a sample. Now that's just the start. I go to number 2, bank 2. I can move the end. So it's a great way to get around on your MPC. Now also, I can, let's go to grid. I get in grid, these parameters work as well as in grid. So these Q-Link parameters work no matter what mode you're in, depending on the mode. Except if I go to menu, nothing to do here obviously, right? Because I just need to select an option and go there. But once I do select an option, let's say I go to browser and I go here, then it's available for whatever parameters the Q-Links are tied to. Now I am in sampler mode. To get here, you press Shift and press the sample edit button. Now you can see here we have the icon for the sampler right there. If we go to menu here, we want to do sampling. We see sample edit right here. And we see sampler right there, right? So I can go to here. I'm there as well also. Now once I'm here in sampler mode, I want to sample something obviously. So I want to sample this loop I got. Not really a loop, but I want to sample this drum pattern I have and show you what we can do with sampling inside of our MPC Key 61. So I've got it set for an input 1 and I got it set for mono. So let me turn on my source. And you see my source is pretty low right here. And you should always keep your source low when you're actually going to record into your MPC Key 61. Keep it low. You want it to be too loud. You want to keep it about 3/4 max. And that's as far as you want to go. But I can go less than that and then adjust the level later on. I can also go stereo though, if I had a stereo sample. So I can come to here, my data wheel's here. You see there's a red border around here. So now we can activate something. I'll push the data wheel in, and then now we can see there's 1, 2, so I have a bunch of monos here, but I'm gonna go back to the top here. That's stereo, and that's 1, 2, right? And so now you can see here, it's just the left-hand side. And even though it's still in mono here, it's still gonna see the stereo. I go to here, I go back to there, go to stereo, and now we, of course, we're taking a stereo sample in, but it's only gonna be just this one side of the left. So what I wanna do next is I wanna go back here. I'm gonna go back, push the button in, my data wheel button in, go back here, select the input, push the data wheel button in again, select input 1. So now I want to raise my source up somewhat. So now I want to raise the source up a little bit, but first what I want to do pretty much is check the sample and see the samples here, and I can see here, as you can see, I can move that up and down. Let's do it from here actually. I can move this up and down like this. You'll notice that it moves pretty accurately. So this is my threshold level. Once the audio signal passes this level here, it will start to sample. I prefer to have it at a decent level, that way the sample will happen immediately. So I want to turn the source up first. So now my source is louder. A little bit more, source is higher now. Now I have a higher source. So what I want to do here is make sure I go out maybe to right about here. That's about minus 20 dB. And you also want to make sure here I get a good sample length. This sample's no more than about a minute and change. It could be no more than a minute. So what I'm going to do is leave it at that point. So I'll come take my data wheel. I'll come to here, select that, and make this about a minute. I prefer to add a few more seconds on if I have to. The source is off now. I'm going to press ARM. Now while it's ARM, you'll notice something, that the signal is waiting for a signal here. Also, it no longer says stereo mono here, right? See that? That stops. Let me cancel this again. And now you see it says mono, of course, and it's not there. I come back here, press ARM again. You see now everything's ready to go. I need to get the signal to start up, and then the MPC key 61 will start recording. Let's do that. And now it's recording, as you can see right there. So you'll see that the time is going by here for sample length. And you can see is the max to the least. So these are seconds. And right here, these are minutes. You can do a maximum of 19 minutes and 59 seconds with the MPC key 61. Now once I'm through, I'll just stop it, or I can press here. As you can see, it's like a stop sign right there. I can stop my recording. I can also add slices, but we'll cover that in another video. I just want to cover just taking a sample in and then editing a sample up. Okay, like that, let's stop it here. And now we get this dialog box right here. Keep or discard the sample. I have a brand new program selected already. I can name my sample. I can come to here and name it. I'll call it drum loop. Space, and then I'll press do it. I called it drum loop. You'll see here, this is the root note. C3 will be the root note. And I haven't assigned it to a pad yet. I just hit a pad, A1 pad, and now it's assigned to a pad. That's pretty simple there, how you can just sample in, take it. I can even press here to play back. I can discard here by throwing it out. I can keep it, or I can edit that sample too as well. I go to press edit, and here's my sample right here, and I can edit the sample right here in the system. I'm not playing back the audio. I just want you to get an idea of what's going on, to not confuse you, and to make sure that you see the procedure for sampling into your MPC key 61. We'll get more intense with this, but our next part of this lesson is to start to edit the sample. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go here to main. Yep, go right up here. We're going to be in menu. I want to go to my browser. And I got a hard drive on here. USB hard drive. I'm looking for a sample I want to pull off of here. This one right here. I'll push the data wheel in. And now I want to go to sample edit. So go back to menu and sample edit. Okay, gotta find a sample now. Okay, so let's go find the samples. Press right here. There it is right there. This is my sample. Top 10 drums. Okay, got a sample here. And we're going to do some sample editing. Before we do, I want to hear this back actually. Let's go back to here. So we can hear the sample. It's pretty long too, actually. We're going to do this first. So right here, where that keyboard is at, I can actually name the sample, right? So I can add a new name here, which I'm not going to do. I'll just press do it to get out of that one. And then here, we have the garbage can where I can actually erase the sample. No need to do that. And then here, of course, we have, see the headphones there? We can hear back the sample. Now here, there's a magnifying glass, so I can actually use my two fingers so I can zoom in. I can get really close on the waveform, which is awesome. Oops, saving progress. So this is a problem too, when saving progress too quickly all the time. So it's trying to save what's going on here and checking it out. So this is one thing I don't do, is do too much saving. And for this video, this is why I did this, so you can see what's going on. When you actually add the saving parameter in, it will stop and save what you're doing and what's in progress, which is kind of cool, particularly once I take a sample. So I've taken a sample, and now it says, okay, I got to save this stuff. The time period has ended, and we're saving it. So I'm going to turn the save off once the sample's saved. I'll go back to menu, and then I want to go back to preferences, right? And so we want to go, let's see, project defaults. Nope, we're going to go to save and load. Nope, this is enable save and load timeout. Here it is, timeout. It's right there. Save and load. So, 5 minutes? No. I want to enable it. That's it for that. I'm not doing it anymore. So, I'll go back to here, and there'll be no more saving. I'll go back to sample edit, and here's our sample edit page. So, always save your samples what you load them in. That's important. Keep the stuff saved and save your project, you know, as you go along. Now, what I can also do, here I am, I go back to menu, I go to preferences, I go to save and load. I can always set this a little longer than 5 minutes. 10 minutes actually is good too. But I'm not using it right now for the purpose of this video, so it won't stop the camera. Of course, I can use my fingers to squeeze back. I can pinch it too a little bit like this, like on an angle like that. Zoop, pinch it in and out. It's kind of cool. I like it a lot. So I can come here to settings now. This is settings. So here I can set the cue play mode. So this is toggle. It toggles back and forth. Or I can do one shot. So one shot means you hit it once and you're gone. So I come back to here. I go back to play here. Still runs, right? Like a one shot it from a pad. From pad one. Let's get this sample up a little bit more. That's the whole sample. What I want to do is I want to chop it up. But first thing I want to do actually right here is go back to settings. I got an idea of what that is. I come to here, this is cue preview, which I normally keep off. We have here slice preview. No need for that. Keep that off as well. Now what I want to do though is I'd like to scroll. Like for example, here, as I see the sample, it just plays across it, right? So I want to go like this. I want to have it play and look at it. So I'm going to come here so I can touch it without turning it on and look at this sample somewhat, right? And now when I press play, nothing happens. I have to go back to my headset. Then it stops. So I'm going to press it here on my pad. And now it's scrolling. As you can see, the waveform is scrolling past the playback head, which is this white line right here. As it passes it, the sample plays. Now that, go back to settings here, that is follow. It also does page. I'll go to page here, I'll press close, and now we'll go back to the top again, And in this case, I'm going to get real close. I'm going to go back to magnifying it. That's better. And now press pad number 1. So it goes back over the waveform. And you can see every minute part of the waveform and see if you got a problem. If you don't like it, start that. And that's page view. So what I prefer generally is to scroll across it, just follow it. Now we have other ways to see the sample in terms of time, in terms of timeline units. So for example, I press time here, we'll close this out, and you'll see here at the top, it says time. And this is time on top, that black line right there, that's where the time is at. A ruler of time. I can come back to here. I can see samples, I can see beats. Samples, beats. And we can see the beats here. Now I prefer to use samples. Follow and samples. Close it out. So now I go back to here and sort of like zoom in again. There we go. So I got a sample here that I like, and I want to use it, of course, but to me it's kind of quiet. So what I want to do here in this situation is sort of like make it louder. But first I want to check out the start point. As you can see, we can change the start point from the beginning all the way down to the end. That's that green line going over the sample range right there. We have an endpoint too. I go to here to endpoint, turn my data wheel, and we can bring the endpoint in. So we can figure out what do we want from this sample, which part do we want, what do we want to use the most. Here next, I'd like to probably loop it, give you an idea how to loop a sample. So for example, I'm going to come in here actually, and then go to, let me get back to, go back to the beginning again, and here's the beginning. So there's a little space in the beginning. I want to see that space. So what I want to do here, in this case, I want to go to end. I want to bring my end all the way down. So right about there, right? So that's my end. I only want to hear the first beat. Okay, I want to go to start now. And I want to zoom in. So I want to zoom into this. Zoom in some more. Oh, there we go. And now I'm at my start. I'm going to bring my start up here to where I want to get that first bass drum. That's good. First bass drum. So now I would like to go to the end and go to where I believe would be the end of the beat. That's somewhere around here. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's been tuned. I did a thing there. Let's go back up here to where the original pitch is at. So I hit this by mistake for tuning. So let's check this tuning out. I can change the tuning of a sample right here. Okay, so watch out if you hit something by mistake, know where to correct it at. So I want to get this bass drum, I want to come to here and tune that up. Actually, get that in the right position. Now play it back. Okay, that's going to be my loop. So I want to be able to do that, to be able to get a loop size of a sample, and that's how you do it with stop and start, or start and end. So I got to hear the start, and I figured out my end point, and that works. What we see here too, obviously, is we can see start, and we also have the loop. So it figures out the distance between here and here, and that's the amount of samples that are in this loop. All slice, which is right here, which is what this whole thing would be, this entire sample is one big slice. Then of course the tuning I showed you earlier. This is the pitch that the original sample will be natural at. If I put it in the keyboard, C3 will be the natural pitch. If I go up to D or C sharp, it'll be higher. If I go down to B, it'll be slower and lower in pitch. Next are the BPM. This is the BPM the machine has figured out what it's going to be. So AKAI has a warp engine in here that can tell you what the BPM of any sample will be. In this case, it thinks it's going to be 100.01. And these are just different loop parameters. For example, I come to here, I press pad number 16. Now stop that. See that? I'll press pad 16 again. Now one more time. So you see what happens. There are options here in this little loop thing here. That's no loop in terms of using this effect. That's a loop one way. This is a loop back and forth, and a loop just in reverse. Okay, next what I want to do is I want to normalize this sample. It's kind of low for me, and you can see it's not reaching their maximum peak levels. So currently I'm in trim here, obviously. Then here we have zoom, where I can zoom in or out. Rather than pinching it, I can zoom right in, right? Like this. And then we have assign. I can assign the sample to a particular program. So here's the program right here. It's an A program here. It's another program. So I don't want to use this program, actually. I want to make a brand new program, which I will do later on. Let's close that out. And now what I want to do is I want to go to process. I want to use process to process the slice. So I want to actually get in here, and I would like to normalize the samples. You can see from the diagram right here, I have the ability to normalize the sample, which is what we want to do right now. So I'm going to press do it. You can see how it goes from this size to that size. And now it's much bigger. Let's play it back. That's it. I like it. Perfect. But it only does this one size of the sample. So it's only going to do this part. The rest of the sample, as you'll see, has not been normalized. So I'm going to press undo. Okay, so once I did it twice, see what happened? I pressed undo. It shook a little bit there, but you can see that it came back to the normal size. So what I want to do here next, I'm going to come to here. I want to probably zoom in like this a little bit more, and then drag this to the end. Now what I want to do once I get to the end, it's perfect. I'm going to come in, press process. Now I want to normalize it, do it, and now you can see the entire sample now has been processed. It's much bigger than it was before. It'll be much clearer and louder at the same time too as well. So let's go back to the top. So here in discard, what happens is I can get rid of this section here. And if I have an end here and an end here, they go in the garbage. Obviously from this little diagram right here. Let's close this out. I'm going to go back into here again, and we're going to get another piece. Actually, let's make it simpler. I'm going to go to the endpoint, drag my end up to any points I want to drag it to. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. And I'm going to decide to get a different point. There we go. Let's go up to here. Let's bring our start point up. And play it back. Now I'll go to my endpoint. Make a little cheeky any kind of ending here. Oh, good. Good. Start point again. Here we go. Good. Let me hit a little bit. Okay, good. I hit pad 16. When I try to loop it, it's much easier. And so now this is kind of cool. So what I want to do here now is go back to process. And here in process now, I'll be able to extract this one sample. Matter of fact, what will happen here is that it will get rid of these. The sample name will remain the same. Let's do that. Look at that. This is what I have here for a sample. This is my entire sample. Let me go to here. Let's pull it back in. I'll use these zoom here at the bottom, and I'll play it back. And that's the entire sample range, and nothing else is there. So we can cut off the beginning and the end of a sample and have just the precise piece we want. Now, I might not like that. I'm going like, and the artist might say, well, I don't like that. Okay, that's bad. So what I would normally do is go back and undo. Hey, look, no problem, bro. It's back. There it is. We'll pick a new part. This is the beauty of using non-destructive editing. It's always there. So it's really great. Plus, I saved the sample earlier, as you remember. That's why a little save was in there in the lesson, so that you know to save your stuff, because you hate to take a sample and it's gone. Oh, God. I can tell you stories in the studio. So this is kind of cool, and I like the way that works. So we're going to go to our next process here, which is delete. I can delete the middle part. I can get rid of this part, put that in the garbage. I will take 1 and 2, and it will come to this here. They'll come together. There'll be one whole piece. Let's do that right now. So I'll press do it. And now we have a new sample. Let's play it from the top. That's pretty cool, because my sample was so cool, like the part I took out, it made it really perfect for this other part to come in on top of it. So it changed the loop in a way, which is kind of cool. And that's why I'm using this loop, drum loop, because it's easier for me to teach the lesson. And also it's a great way to learn timing with sample chopping. So that's kind of cool right there. So next, I don't like that. The artist says, I don't like that. Okay, we're going to put it back in. We'll undo that. And see, it's right back where it came from again. This is so cool. Now, we're going to go back to process again here. Boom, we can silence. I can take that one section here, the one here with the X here, I can silence it. I can say, okay, get everything out of there. Stop it. It's silent. Let's do that next. I'll come to here and I'll say, do it. Sure, why not? Boom, look at that. This section has nothing in it. If I play it back, nothing's there. Blank. And it'll just stop. Okay, let's undo that. You never know when you want to take a section and make a silent section, some sort of loop, anywhere. But actually, I do that with vocals. When I want to cut a vocal part out, and maybe chop it out, put it someplace else, and turn the pitch up, and then turn the one that was here off. So there are reasons why these are here, not just to play around. Then I can extract the sample. From the diagram here, it's obvious. I can take this sample, make a brand new sample, and this sample still maintain its same length and everything else. We're just taking it out and making a brand new sample. And the name of that sample appears here. Top 10 drums, 106 BPM, 1. So we'll do that. That's great, but we don't see it, right? So you want to come here to our sample pool, and there it is right there in the sample pool by itself. So we have a brand new sample. We have not touched or destroyed the original sample, but we pulled the sample out of that sample, which is kind of cool. Now I'm going to undo that. Now see, I undid that. Notice this sample is still here. Let's scroll back down. Notice this sample is still like this. It's still this way. Now what happens is when you do that, you're going to probably have to erase that sample right here. It'll be in the library, and then you'll be like, wait a minute, I got extra samples here. So if you want to clear your sample pool or save it, you can do that. But be aware of that. When you do that, you're going to just take up more space in the sample pool. Okay, go back here, and I'm going to try the next process that's available to us. And we have extract here. We did normalize already. You saw that already. That's already been done. We have reverse. Let's reverse it. Do it. The reverse this section here. I'll play it back. That's cool. Press pad 16. Hit it again. I can reverse the sample. I can loop that sample reverse. It's kind of cool. So, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo it. Now. Okay. So I can undo it quickly. This is really great. Now, the next process we have available is fade in. Let's just do it. You can see it's obvious. Now, this is kind of cool. I have a linear fade in, so it fades in gradually in, but each time it fades in, or as it fades in, it's doing it gradually at a linear incline. Like here, you see it's like linear, so it's going to be evenly tapered. So let's say do it. Now I'm going to press the pad. Now, I use that for mixing. I sure do. I like doing that sometimes. Particularly if you want to send somebody a particular, let's say, a track they have to have in a practice too. It may start out like that. That's kind of cool there. Let's undo that. And we're back to normal. The next process here is going to be, you know it, fade out. Before I do that, I want to go back here to fade in. And we're going to do log. Log is another type of fade in as well. Let's do this. And hit log. So obviously, linear goes from the bottom. This has just a little bit of fade in. Now, I'll undo that. And now we'll try one more, which is going to be exponential. And we're going to go here and do it. Now, this is going to be deep. That's from nothing. So it figures out the distance from the beginning to the end, and it wants to start from 0, where you hear nothing at all, silence. The other one, the first fade in was linear, so it had a point that said, okay, we'll start from a quiet point here and move up. The other one was a little bit further up in log, where it just got a area that was actually just about low, but not really low, and then it rose up according to the height of the sample. So it's a really cool way to pick out different ways to fade in or fade out. Because I can undo this, which I'll do right now, and I want to go to process here, and then we're going to go here to fade in. The same thing happens here too as well. I can go here, rather fade out, excuse me, and I'll press this. So you can still hear the ending. Stop that. And next I want to do, go back to process again. I'll do undo first rather. Then I'm here in process. Let's cancel this out. Make sure undo is proper. We're good. Process again. Here we can do log and exponential too as well. Let's cancel this. Let's go to the next process because that's pretty simple. Pitch shift. I can change the pitch of a sample. Sort of like if I want a singer to sing higher, I change the key, right? A different pitch. If I want to get her to sing lower, I want a lower pitch. So in this case, the same thing happens here. I come to here. Oops, I go to right here, tap there. I want to make sure you tap, get that red border. Then I know I can use my data wheel. And we're going to go down by 3, 4 semitones. I'll press do it. And I'll play it back. Okay, now that's kind of cool. Now sometimes I will do this when I want to get that boom bap out of something, when I get that real hip hoppy, hardcore sound. But what I will normally do is do that, and then I will take a copy of the snare drum and make it go along with this. So the snare drum has like the original pitch and it's low pitch, so I can get much more of a tighter boom bap feel. One of my tricks I've used over the years, which has worked many times. So this is really cool to do when you're ready to do it. But it's good to know it's there. I'll press undo. We're back to normal. Let's check that though, make sure. Yes, we are back to normal. Okay, so what's the next process we have here? Pitch shift. Oh, we got time stretch. I can stretch the time. So time stretching is, I may go low in pitch, but I want to make sure I'm the same speed, right? So that means if a singer's singing a different key, we still aren't going to change the tempo. It's going to be the same speed. So that's what we want to do, right? So I'm going to take this one here. We'll try this. Let's go to here. Let's see. We're going to make it here, come to here. And I want to make it faster. Let's go to like a boom, 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 boom. Ooh, that's good. That's good right there. Even better. Let's go high. Let's make it sound ridiculous, actually. There you go. And I'll press do it. And now it's going to process this with time stretching. Notice how long it takes. So it requires the little computer in here to figure out every part to process it. And now we'll play it back. I also changed the speed too as well. Now we're going to go back here to process. You can see here, I can change the speed or just change the tempo, right? I changed actually the speed of the sample. I changed that and brought up a lot. So I did both. I changed the speed and I changed the pitch. It's kind of cool. And we'll press undo. Matter of fact, let's go to cancel here. I'll press undo and it's undone to make sure it is. And that's how we do that. So the next process we have here is what? We have gain. So I want to increase the loudness, all right? I can either increase it or decrease it. Let me increase it some more. Let's see what happens here. I did make it normalize, but I may go past normalize, right? Let's press do it. Oh, look at that. Look how big that file looks right there. That looks crazy. Let's play that back. Oh, it's like being in the studio, man. It's like really loud, chunky. Now that's great for rock and roll. Love that. That's hot right there. And so let's process this. Let's undo it. That's really cool. And next we have here, we have copy. Of course, you always want to copy a sample, right? So this is simple, and you know what it's going to be. I would just come and copy a sample, and it gives me a brand new name of that sample. I would copy it. I have 1 and 2 at that point. In this case, this is really not 1, but this is 2, and the first one's just the regular name. I'm not going to do that because that's pretty simple to do. You can do that at home. Watch it. Don't do it around your kids. And the next thing I'm going to do here is we can reduce the bit depth of this sample. Now you can practice at home with this. This is kind of cool, but I won't do this here. I'll give you something you can do at home. Also, we can turn it from stereo to mono, which is very easy to do. You can be left side or right side. Now, a thing why I like this is because some old records you'll get, and the right side's good and the left side's not what you want, or the bass line's on the left and the drums are on the right. You know, back in those days, they didn't have like multi-tracks. They had a few tracks, but they had to just separate sounds. But this is a great way to get those sounds off of those records. And the next one we have here, that's the last one. Well, amazing. I love that. That's kind of cool. So that's it. Cancel. Now that's what we do when we're doing sample editing in our MPC Key 61. So I'm going to go to preferences here. I'm going to press menu, hit that one time, and come to here and I'll hit preferences right there. Now here in preferences, you can see there's a pretty long list here, and this will help you out a lot when setting up your MPC Key 61. Now, of course, the first option here is info. We have the AKAI Professional here, the logo, then the MPC OS logo. Below here we have the MPC firmware. Now, my current firmware here, of course, is obviously 2.11.4. Okay, and then this is the serial number of the device. And then here is a control surface version, which is 1.39. Now, if I want to update my MPC Key 61, I'll just press update here. I'll go to online update. Now, I already have an Ethernet cable plugged into here, which makes it much more easier, and I can automatically see it. If it needs to be updated, I press OK, either way, to update or to say, yes, I understand. You are running the latest version of MPC, so that's okay. No problem. I can also reset my preferences. I prefer to keep my preferences where they are. I've already updated this machine for this video. Now, we'll go back to here, activate plugins. Some of you guys may have plugins or don't have plugins, or you want to activate them. They could be in your account. So generally, you would just log into here. And now, since I am online, the InMusic brand appears here. So what I'm going to do, I put my phone, I got an iPhone here. I'm going to put this iPhone on this, write this QR code so I get a good view of it. I am in photo. So be careful if you end up getting into video. And there it says AKAI Pro. Now just select that. Okay, there, I'll hit that with my finger. Takes me to a AKAI Pro device. Enter the code display. Now below activation, we have here Wi-Fi under activate plugins. And of course, Wi-Fi is very simple. If you have Wi-Fi, you should know how to set it up. I'm currently using Ethernet, but it's pretty simple. You would go to on here. It's looking for the Wi-Fi devices that are currently in this area. Cool. And if I have a device and it does have the code, I just take connect. So I'm not putting the password in. There's no need. I have Ethernet. And you come right here under Wi-Fi, you'll see I have Ethernet. So enabled, status available. It says connecting, and now you see it has the DNS, it has the gateway, the subnet mask, and of course the IP address right there. Under Ethernet we have Bluetooth. Now I have never seen a Bluetooth device work for any MPC of the newer ones, whether it's MPC 1, MPC 2. I don't even use Bluetooth for this thing. So I tried headsets, that didn't work, so maybe in the future it will work, I do not know. But I'll put on, and we're going to look to see if it can pair devices somewhere. So it's looking for devices to pair up to, and it's taking a while here, and it should actually see them that real quickly actually. But it's taken a while to find some sort of Bluetooth device to pair with. I've got a bunch of them here in my office, so we'll see that another day. We have audio device. So I have audio device internal, right? 32 inputs and outputs. So I have internal. Let's click on this here. I'll double tap right there, and all we have is internal. So I don't have any sort of extra card plugged into my MPC Key 61. I'm just going to use the audio device that's internal, so I can go inputs or outputs into my MPC Key 61. Now next we have MIDI sync. So we can do MIDI and we can sync devices up. As you can see here, there's a keyboard, a port, here's global, here's tracks right here. I can come to here for MIDI port, and this is remote. And this is all the input ports. Then we have here the MIDI port and remote here for the output ports, right? And I can enable MIDI ports when discovered. So once it finds them, we can enable those automatically. See, so make sure when you do go to a particular screen here on your preferences to always scroll up or down, like right now. Now we see more information. MIDI control, mode, output. Pretty simple, output MIDI. We can also receive sync. So this is sync receive, receive on. This is off currently. Ableton, start, stop, sync. Receive MIDI machine control, MMC. And there we have sync send. Send off, put it on when you want to send sync out. And I would send MIDI sync, click that on. I could send MTC, which is MIDI time code, and that the frame rate would be, which is great for film. And here we also have our start point for linking up a film to MTC film rate. So I need to know the start point, and I put it right there. And then next here, we have MIDI input, filter, all notes off, CC. And then we have program change, on or off. I come to here, I click on that. We have program, sequence, and track. So I can have the program do the control change, or the sequence, or any specific track. And that's MIDI sync. References setup we have here is for hardware. And of course, see hardware here, we have our pad threshold levels and sensitivity for our pads. So we got our pads, of course, and then we can set the sensitivity level. I I'll never change this. I leave the pads on my MPC, any MPC, set the way that they actually come out the factory. I've never had a problem with that, but if you do, you can change your sensitivity level or your threshold level, meaning how hard you strike the pad, how is that going to respond in terms of triggering that keyboard sound or triggering that sample or sound. Then we have a curve, our pad curve. Whether I hold it down for a long period of time or I hit it hard, we want to set a curve to how that actually works. In this case, A works great for me. In threshold level, 8. And also in pad sensitivity, 8 as well. And of course, we have pad velocity. So if I hit a pad, I'm hitting the pad now, I'm holding it down. I'm off of that pad. But now you'll see aftertouch. We see the velocity was hard and the aftertouch. I'll just tap the pad this next time. Ooh, and I got less of an aftertouch right there. Now this works really good when you don't have full level on. If I put full level on, no matter what I tap, it's going to be the same way. I turn full level off, I'm good to go. So we'll see the velocity and the aftertouch. Now below this, we have our screen dimming. So if you are not playing your MPC Key 61 for 5 minutes, the screen will dim. Now currently I'm recording this video, and it looks even better for me when I have the screen that we're looking at here, brightness in night mode. And I could change it. I can come to here, right here. I can do day. And there's day mode. I don't want to record in day mode, so I come back to here, double tap that, go back to night mode. Night mode looks much better. Now we have 2 taps. I can do whatever I want to do for tap tempo. I can tap it 3 times and it will give me that after those 3 taps, it'll average out what that tempo was, or BPM, beats per minute. And I can have a flashing light for my tempo or not. I prefer the flashing light because it's just a reminder of how fast the tempo is. You can set it the way you want. Now below here we have, this is general, and this is bank button press. So my bank buttons will press selected A through D. Shift plus Q-Link press equals Q-Link edit. So I can change these parameters too. I can come to here and I can do that. Well, I can just do cycle backwards, which I don't want to do. I prefer to do this right here. Let's go back to hardware, scroll back up, and we're right here again. But you can make your own settings. And same here for the A through D for my pad banks. I can select and toggle the pad banks. And here at the bottom, we have global pitch bend settings. So there's a pitch bend, right? And so you have these global settings you can use to how much you actually push that pitch bend wheel and get a response in terms of range up or range down. In this case, I'm using 2. But this depends on what type of keyboard player you are, or whether you aren't a keyboard player, how you want to set it for doing pitch bending with the MPC K61. You should adjust this to what you like. Then here also we have the date. The current date is September the 24th, and that's 2022. Gives the time and the hour. And of course, the time zone location. Okay, now here we have sequencer mode, right? And so I have this playback thing, which is called instant track mute. So instant track mute is like an old thing to do with my old MPC, and I could have that on. Play track mute and solo events, which is on also as well. So next we have here project defaults. Now the first option here is new project dialog, a demo. So I can have a demo load, right? And see just demos. So I turn the machine and I'll see all the demos as you normally would see them. I can come to here though, I'll be able to see 3 different categories. I'll see the demos, a template, which will be just all the demo sounds, but not the demo sequence. And then we have recent. That means if I made a project, that recent will also appear on the first page. Now the next default here is the tempo. That means whenever I turn on the machine, the default tempo when I start a brand new project will be 120. It's 120 BPMs, right? So this next one is global. Now, if I select global, what happens is that if I make a sequence, a sequence, let's say, is going to be 90 BPM. I make a brand new, another sequence, this next one, that's going to be 90 BPM as well. That means every sequence in the machine will be 90 BPM. It'll be default globally for the entire machine. If I deselect that, when I make a brand new sequence, it's going to be 120. Then I can change the tempo at that point when I start making that sequence. So I prefer to turn on the global only when I'm going to make a brand new song and all the parts and sequences are going to be the same BPM. Now next here we have our sequence defaults. So the default's going to be 2 bars. I can change this. I come here, tap there, I can turn my data wheel. I can select the number of bars I want to have always when the default comes up. Time signature is 4/4. The numerator will be 4 and the denominator will be 4. So that's 4/4 time signature. Let's say I want to do 3/4. So I come to here, I can do a waltz, a 3/4. Here's 4/4, standard. Then we have our program default. So default pad slice is pad. That means that slice goes to a pad. Or all there. 2 options. Next I have default drum group filter. So I can pick the type of filter I want to use for the drums, or a filter for that drum program. The default filter. I can change that here, but here generally it's going to be a 2. Sometimes I might change this, but not particularly right now. You should keep it probably the way it is, and then when you start actually working with your MPC Key 61, you'll adjust it to what you feel is best for your project. Then we have default plugin is the Fabric XL. That's my default synth plugin. So the first synth that comes up in the system is that. I can also come to here and select another one. Where can we? Let's open that up. Sure can. Here we go. I can do bass, electric, Fabric Key Piano, Fabric Piano, Fabric XL, Fabric Hype, Mellotron. Oh, it's all here. So I'll stick with Fabric XL. I just use my data wheel to do that. I push the data wheel in, it opens up this parameter right here. As long as this is red. Everybody's got to deal with is saving your data. Okay, you're working on a project, you like it, and you're not saving every 5 minutes. Your friend walks in, trips over the cable. The cable unplugs the machine cuts off. Okay, you're going to lose everything you did right there, pretty much, if you didn't save your data. Now, what they have here is autosave. If I click on this, it will autosave every 10 minutes. And you can change that. I'll push this data wheel in, and here we go. I can do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, or 1 minute. I can save every 10 minutes. I'll set this to 5 minutes. I prefer that. Then also, there's a template. I can make my own template, have a template here to load. That means when I actually start my MPC Key 61 up, I can have a template that I would load automatically for me to start a project. The next option here is going to be record export. That says record export right here. And we have recording bit depth. So this is a bit depth of the recording process. It's going to record something internally inside the system. It's going to record at 16-bit. Or I can change it to 24-bit. And 16 is the default. Next we have audio device. So here in my audio device, I can include program volume and pan settings. So I'm going to make sure that these settings are always going to be included in the operation of the MPC Key 61. Below that here we have bypass program effects plugins. Now I don't want to bypass the effects, maybe a reverb, a compressor, it could be a delay, it could be a gate, or a de-esser for vocals. But I do not want to bypass that information when I'm actually going to dump out a file or something. So I'm going to make sure that when I export the file, that I'm going to have the bypass program effects plugin not checked. Only if I want to just send out just a version of my project that has no effects on it. Next we have audio tail. This is very important. Sometimes you have effects like a reverb, echo, and it continues on and on, right? But when it comes to an end of a song and it sort of has a tail end, you may want to give it just that 1 second so it just doesn't cut off. It sort of dies out. You may have a fading there, but you want to make sure that it just doesn't stop. You want to make sure it just cuts off, so it gives it this little tail, an audio tail to the end of that little export. Now here we have an audio export as well. I got a song. I got track 1, track 2, track 3. Track 1 is the drums. Track 2 is the keyboard. Track 3 is the bass line. Track 4 could be guitar. So in this case, I would export just track 1, which would be the drums, and I would make sure we're going to export audio track. If I have an entire sequence, I would come to here. I would set up the entire program for that sequence. Under audio tail length, which is 1, you can actually extend this out. You'll see this here next to audio tail length. I can actually increase the number of seconds. It's just 1 second there. I can make it more for the effects to sustain and to degrade. So it makes it easier to add a longer audio tail length. Press do it, it's done. I'll leave it at 1 in this case. Below here we have the audio export. Now, when I export a file, it means I'm going to make a file and export it. Let's see, I'm using some other software like Pro Tools or Logic, some bigger DAW, digital audio workstation. I want to send maybe track 1 is the drums, track 2 is the piano, 3 is the bass, 4 is the guitar, right? So I might want to just send that program, and that program would be track 1. So I may want to send that program out, or from the data wheel, I can send track or program or the main out. The main would mean everything. Left and right, master output would be sent out. So I want to send something to somebody, say, that would give them a track to get an idea what it sounds like, to either write some lyrics to. I would probably use the main out. If I'm just going to send a part out I want to send to make stems, I would just send the track out, or in some cases, just a program. I'll leave it on track. We have MIDI export. I'll click right here. I can export the MIDI data for a track. Let's say I played keyboards, and all the keyboard parts for that one track would be MIDI data. You would know which keys I pressed, how long I held those keys down for, all that. I want to export that information to use it in another sequence, it will say. Well, I would select track. I can also select sequence. That means the entire sequence. I can have the drums, piano, bass, guitar, horns, trumpets, all that stuff I've got in there. It could be 16 tracks. It will export all 16 MIDI tracks in a full sequence export. I'll leave it on track. Now when you bounce a file out, we have a bounce bit depth of 24. You can see there's no dialog box for that, so it's going to be 24 always. Now the next option we have here is general. I get to general here. We have the first option here, which is main outputs. Vintage mode set to MPC 60. That's the very first MPC 60 that Roger Lin made for AKAI in Japan when AKAI first started out. That has its own flavor as well. Next we have the SP1200, an older EMU or Ensoniq device made by a company called Ensoniq, but they called it EMU, was the company for the SP1200. And this device here has a great sound, a classic hip-hop sound, and probably rock too as well back in the day when people used it. Very strong drum sound. So this gives it that flavor. And we also have the SP1200 ring, which is a classic sound of that device that made it very famous. I can set any one of these 4 different vintage modes. In this case, when you first use it, I make sure none is selected. Now next here we have the audition and preview. So when you go to, let's say you go to your browser and you want to hear back something and it plays back that demo that you hear back. Well, what you want to do is you can set this to how long you want to hear it back for. I'll push that in here. And I'll make it more like 15 seconds. That's all I really want to hear, 15 seconds, no more than that. I can make a decision after that whether I like that demo or the sounds in that demo. And you can adjust this audio autoplay demo length right here. Next we have audition output. So this is audition outputs. And here I'm using 1 and 2, which is my main output. I never change that. It's pretty simple. It goes to your master. We have Q preview and we have slice preview. I have no need to check out the Q preview or the slice preview. Now below here we have the warp and BPM detect. Now what this is, detects the BPM. Let's say for example the song is 120 BPM beats per minute. What happens here is that there's an logarithm in here. It's an audio warp logarithm. Let's say for example I want to check out to make sure this sequence or loop I have will match the current song. What this does here, it makes sure that this is set to Pro 10 so that it'll have the power to use of the chip inside to make sure it can utilize that power to make sure it can get that warp engine to match the speed of whatever the BPM is. This is important, particularly when using loops or bringing a vocal in from the record or something, or having a different vocal come in that's a sample. You're going to make sure it's going to be in time. For example, I may have a singer, she's singing a track, and she could be in C. But her voice is bad, so we can't use it that day. You might want to use something else. What we'll normally do is we'll just turn the pitch down. And those vocals that were already recorded will go down in pitch. And then that person can sing to the current pitch in case her voice wasn't good enough to work for that day. Might have had a cold or something. You never know. But this is a great device to use. And of course, you really can't change it. So it's right there on your MPC Key 61. And it's the audio warp logarithm. And it's at the Pro 10, the max.